digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sport Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
You're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. So much at stake in the top flight today as we edge towards the split. Just 3 rounds of games to go. We have 4 in the top flight kicking off at 3 o'clock and full commentary from 5:30 at Dens Park. Dundee up against Rangers, and also today 2 big games we're covering in the Championship. I'll bring you all the goal news from right across the country. So let's get to our man at Celtic Park. Alan Preston is there for us. Alan, what's happening there? The team's just coming out, decent travelling support through.
Yeah, Hearts have sold their tickets out. I saw a big travelling support come through. Celtic is always packed at Parkhead. The rain is not as obviously torrential as other parts of Scotland, but it is falling here and the pitch looks magnificent. So hopefully a really good game here today. It's going to be very interesting with the games all round. It's a brilliant end to the season for the top 6, the bottom 6 relegation. It's just magic.
Alan, your thoughts on the return to management in Scotland of Neil Lennon?
Brilliant. He's a mate of mine, a good friend of mine, Neil, so I'm absolutely delighted that he's back in the game. I think he'll give Dunfermline a massive boost. He's only there at the end of the season and we'll see how it goes, but I sincerely hope, and I'm sure he will do well. I'm absolutely delighted that he's back in.
Yeah, it should be a belter down there. Also the game at Celtic Park, Alan's covering, just seen pictures of Lawrence Shanklin there with the captain's armband. He'll need to be very, very good today, as will his teammates, if they're to take something from that game at Celtic Park. Alan will bring us all the news from that one. Let's get to Pittodrie. Aberdeen at home to Motherwell this afternoon, and you were quite rightly saying, Stephen Craig, and full credit to Aberdeen Football Club, the initiative there that sees a full house. Let's hope the fans are treated to an absolute belter.
Well, they're certainly playing their part, Kenny. The players got a wonderful entrance. There was smoke bombs going off. It was all controlled. There was no pyrotechnics in the stand. All the smoke was blown down the stadium, as you can imagine. It's a bit windy up here in the northeast as well. But both sets of supporters are out in good numbers, good colour, good voice. Let's hope, as you say, that the game can deliver. Of course, lots of talking points throughout either side, but we all know performance-wise, sometimes can go and miss. It's all about getting 3 points. When you're only 3 games away from Matchday 33 and top 6, it's simply about finding a way to win. And both sides will be desperate to do that this afternoon.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. Let's get to Easter Road. Hibs at home to St Johnstone this afternoon. Stephen McGinn is there for us. It's a massive match again for both clubs there, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can tell there's a sense of anticipation in the crowd. Good support through from Perth. They know the pressure they can put onto Dundee ahead of the night-time game against Rangers with a result here. So, yeah, big game, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, good stuff from Stephen McGinn there, and in Paisley, Derek Ferguson in very difficult conditions. Derek, just seen the pictures coming in. It's going to be tricky for the players there this afternoon.
It certainly is, Kenny. I'm laughing because I might have a little chance here. No, it's good recovery. Yeah, it's good recovery from me. I'm laughing because I watched the warm-up from both sides and they've got the ball on the deck in these conditions, which you should do. First 2 touches of the game, Wadoosh, right up the park, just lumping it up. But I can understand why, Kenny, because it's so difficult out there. But you need to get it through to the players. Can you keep it on the deck? Can you trust each other, you know, to play the shorter passes, to get yourself up the park? But the first 2 touches was just like a 60 and a 70 yard lump up the park. But yeah, listen, but I'll get a little bit lenient to the players because it's going to be a difficult afternoon. But what's brilliant, Kenny, what a crowd we've got.
Yeah.
It looks like a full house this afternoon, which is absolutely magic. So let's hope we get an exciting game. I'm not so sure about the quality that we'll get, but I'm sure it'll be exciting.
Yeah, looking forward to that when Could St Mirren get their 3rd consecutive top 6 finish. As for Kilmarnock, if they lose today, they've got to be looking over their shoulder at that relegation playoff spot. So Derek, chance somewhere, Stephen Craig?
Chance, yeah. Aberdeen have started really strongly, Kenny. They're moving the ball well. Leighton Clarkson is back into the side. Graham Shinney has popped off the left back, and Leighton Clarkson is in midfield. He's been the orchestrator of what's been good about Aberdeen in these opening minutes. It's a lovely ball down the left-hand side, fizzed across goal. I think it was Toby Keskinen got in with a strike at the near post, and it just touched the side net. So Motherwell have to be careful. They're very open at the minute. As much as they want to be expansive and they want to go and press, you've got to be careful. Aberdeen have got players who can play through you and hurt you, and there was a moment but it just hit the side net.
Right, let's get into the Championship. We gave it the big build up at Somerset Park. Ayr United at home to Dunfermline. I'd imagine Kennedy did sign a very healthy travelling support there this afternoon.
Absolutely, and they're in fine fettle at the moment because Dunfermline have started pretty well in. I have to echo the other folks' contributions. Horrific, horrendous. I hate talking about the weather at the football, but the driving rain is making it really difficult to play here. However, in 40 seconds, Dunfermline had a corner, nice delivery from Joe Chalmers, who still got it. Scrambled away in the end by the Ayr defence, but it's going to be really difficult to play any football. But in fairness to the Pars and the honest men and women as well, good turnout from the home crowd as well. No goals, 2 minutes 40-ish played, but it's so difficult to play football on this.
Rory Loy is at Carpolo for us. Morton at home to Partick Thistle. On the home side, still in with a shout, Rory, of making the playoffs. So you'd have to say, whatever happens there, Dougie Emery's done a great job.
He has, Kenny. I remember I was at his first ever game. It was a cup game away to Kilmarnock for Morton, and ever since then, I mean, they were in serious relegation trouble that season, and he kept them in the league at a canter in the end, and he's went from strength to strength with them. A team that you wouldn't expect them to be up there challenging for playoffs, but more often than not they are. A young Scottish manager who deserves good recognition for having done that. But from Joe Chalmers to Logan Chalmers on the pitch today, he looks the most lively for Partick Thistle so far. A shot from distance just going by the post. He looks to be picking up little pockets and trying to get shots away. Kubiak and Graham up front looking dangerous early on. So Partick Thistle have had the best of it so far, but Morton will be looking to pick up the 3 points, that's for sure.
We've got the pictures from the 4 top flight games coming into the studio here. Leanne Crichton and Michael Stewart alongside me. Alan Preston, how things started at Celtic Park?
Hearts have pressed really high up the park. That's not even a real effort, but it goes into Sinacello. One thing about him, the keeper, his distribution, he sprints to the edge of the box and he releases Jota. He plays a long ball to Maeda and it just goes through to Craig Gordon. But already you can see Hearts are trying to push. As soon as Celtic get the ball, they're all engaging with their men, trying to win the ball as high up the park as they can. So it's 0-0 here. We have gone 4 minutes.
It was interesting, Leanne. Pat was talking there about Nawrocki. He obviously came in for the Old Firm game, and Pat felt he was at fault for the final. Was it the final goal he said? But I thought he actually played quite well, Nawrocki, in that game.
Go Motherwell! Harry Payton down the left-hand side. Kevin Nisbet. It's the second phase of a free kick. He ends up in a right-back position against Harry Payton. He gambles to go and put him under pressure. Payton skips back, stands the ball up to the back post.
Slattery, Craigs.
Was it Slattery? Again. So many bodies came together. What a header in off the crossbar. 1-0 to Motherwell.
He's in fine goal-scoring form. But, he just down that left-hand side. Payton does well. It's a
goal! Goal for St Mirren. Thing has boys months. I tell you what, McCrory's got to do better. It's not the cleanest of hits, but he's got to get across. Surely he's got to get a hand to that. Again, well, you've got to take into conditions, Kenny, but St Mirren going to front, wind assisted, but I don't know the guys that should have. McCrory's got to do a lot better.
I don't think you can say that's wind assisted, Derek, in first viewing. maybe we're being harsh on McCrory, but we'll get a second look at it now. Some good build-up play though.
I'm not having that. It's a really good challenge. Good challenge. Right in front of the dugouts, and the referee doesn't give it. Then the crowd got on his back, and then he gives the free kick. It's a good challenge for me.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. I mean,
Hearts had a chance. This is the goals were going in elsewhere.
Yep.
It was Cabangu who was right on the byline, and he tries to smash it across. Sinacello gets down, knocks it away. It's been a decent start from Hearts so far.
Right, let's go back then. Callum Slater, the opening goal on 5 minutes, Michael. And you said you felt this was a big game for Aberdeen today. Motherwell doing well. I think certainly improvement under Michael Vimmer.
I was just going to say, Al, that is a foul, by the way. I would agree with you. When I first saw it out the corner eye, I thought, he's won the ball, but I don't think he actually does.
Okay.
I thought it was a harsh free kick, but seeing the replay, he doesn't actually get the ball. Slattery, big goal for Motherwell, and I just think that it's a huge one in terms of the sort of feeling of how the season is going to play out from here for Aberdeen. They've put a stop to that horrendous run of form, but
shout for a penalty, and we've got it. for St Mirren. Ayunga, brilliant. He's so direct, you know, gets takes the ball, wide left-hand side, he's got one thought, I'm going to try and get in the box, I'm going to try and get a shot off, and yeah, he's brought it down. The referee, he's only, 10 yards away. No hesitation. He's pointed straight to the spot. So I tell you what, I fancy this getting in because they have got the wind, a 40-mile-an-hour wind behind them. So
I'm not sure.
It
too clever
looks
here.
like there's an awful lot in this. Derek. We're going to get a better view at it here, better angle for Mayo. I don't think that's a penalty.
That's not a penalty.
For me.
Not a penalty.
So there's enough to overturn that.
Lewis Mayo is it dives in.
That's
I
an
don't
interesting
actually
one.
think there's contact though.
No, well, I mean there is. There's obviously just a coming together in terms of, like, you know, the bodies have made contact, but it's not a foul. You know, it's a sort of challenge that you would call a normal footballing challenge, but I don't see that as a penalty kick. But to answer your question, Kenny, I think they could quite easily keep it.
Yeah, there's not enough.
But it's the wrong decision.
Right. Yeah.
It's never a penalty kick.
But I don't. Where do you think there's contact there? Because I think there's only a bit of contact in terms of like the bodies coming together.
It's a penalty kick. He's gave the penalty kick. I just like the Ayunga driving at the player. Now we're a good 50 odd yards away, and it looked a penalty, but yet you're looking at the replay. So the reason I'm saying I fancy this to go in is because that wind is behind them. So
Lacey's through it, Derek.
To be too clever. Pardon?
Lacey's through it with the wind, is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Just going
dreadful
absolutely looning it right into the net.
Yeah, I want to talk about Kilmarnock in this time. It's a worrying season for them right now, that's for sure. Here we go, Derek.
Just take a wee step back. Yeah, step back. Had a little look at the referee. The ball just blew off the penalty spot. So referee Nick Ball's just getting in there. Might be a little bit unsettling, but he's calmed himself down, little couple of steps back, composes himself, has a little look, runs up, little step. I tell you what, he was quite clever. He fooled the keeper, puts McCrory the wrong way. St Mirren, what a start, 2-0 up.
Great penalty.
Well, I mean, look, for me, I can understand why, you know, Derek in the main stand's looking at it, because there is a coming together, you know. So to answer the question, like, there's clearly contact. You know, the two players like make contact with each other.
I think the reverse angle would be better to see as well, actually, like with the facing both players from behind the goal, to see how much contact.
I would like to see a replay. What I'm meaning is that you can't say that there is zero contact between the players. They do touch each other, but it's never enough for like a penalty kick or a foul for me,
Michael,
personally.
would that be classed as re-refereeing the game? Because you'd imagine there's a conversation going on between VAR and the referee. What happened? I saw contact, I think it's a penalty. Well, there's contact has been mentioned, so VAR can't really overturn that.
Well, that was why when Kenny said, will it be overturned, that my instinct was that, no, I don't think they will.
Yeah,
even though I think, you know, most football people looking at that, you know...
Oh, what a save! Sinacilla, a brilliant save. It's a ball, it's a corner of the Hearts, it's whipped in middle of the box. It might be Nielsen, I think, possibly on it, but brilliant save by the keeper, point blank.
Big chance.
A big chance, yeah. Good save by the keeper, but I actually think
Nielsen?
I'm unsure.
It's a space that he got in the box there. I mean,
I know. I actually think he's got to do better with the contact. Just kind of took it on the half turn almost. Good movement, a lot of blocking, a lot of bodies. Nah, keeper does okay.
Yeah, it is Nielsen.
Yeah.
Scottish League 1 leaders are both 1-0 up ahead against Cove Rangers, fellow challengers Cove Rangers. Aaron Muirhead with that goal on 8 minutes. What a start for St Mirren and Paisley. 2-0 up. Leanne at home to Derek McInnes's Kilmarnock. And I was saying earlier on,
what a save, Ellery Balcom. That's what I was talking about. Muddle being cut on one simple ball through midfield. Kevin Nisbet found himself in a lovely space. Keskinen just went round the outside, I think, of Dan Casey. Lovely slide rule pass by Nisbet. Keskinen's in, you think goal, but Balcom really strong right on to keep it at 1-1.
I know the Celtic fans are wanting a penalty kick here. I think the flag would go up anyway for Maeda being offside. He doesn't get to the bounce of the ball, it bounces over him and Nielsen runs into him.
It's not a penalty.
No chance, but the fans are wanting one, Michael.
But Alan, that comes into what I was talking about before. Yes, there's contact between the two players, but you're allowed to, there's a physical contact sport here. Any contact doesn't constitute a foul.
What about
Kenny? It tells you everything about the conditions. Boyd Muntz, corner kick, right hand side. He takes it with his left foot. Now they've probably worked on something during the week in training. Maybe feed it. It looked as if he was trying to feed it to the back post area, and the ball just goes as soon as it's in the air. It's back into the stand. So about 20 yards. So sometimes players, although you practice some things, use your initiative. Play to the conditions. So they should have drove it into the box instead of trying to float it in.
So just confirmation then of that goal for St Mirren. Leanne, I was just saying there, I think it's worrying times right now for Kilmarnock fans.
It is. I mean, they're running form.
Aberdeen have scored.
Right, maybe they've lost the line. Stephen, are you there, Stephen?
Yes, I am indeed.
Sorry, on you go. Go for Aberdeen.
I think it's Dorrington that's got the goal. It was from a set play, ball bubbled to bounce. Now it was Dorrington with his right foot in to the left-hand side of Ellery balcony. Kept Motherwell level only a matter of moments ago. But from the set play that came after that, it's 1-1.
Right, okay.
Oh, given a penalty kick for a handball, has he? No, in fact, he's given a foul at the back post. The Celtic fans thought it was a penalty. You'll see it's a corner that comes in.
Dunfermline good away.
Right, okay, so that's
trying to score here. Shot comes in just over the crossbar. I tell you, Dunfermline Athletic under Neil Lennon, plenty of energy. He's out on the touchlines now applauding. It's 0-0 here. They've had 4 or 5 corners. They're creating all the chances, though. It's one-way traffic at the moment, and it's not in Ayer's direction.
Something is getting looked at here at Parkhead.
Yeah, I think it might be a potential handball. Don't think the camera angle that we got, Alan, was very good. We're just getting a replay of the corner kick just now. The bit of contact at the back area to start with.
That's not a penalty.
I thought there was a foul on Nielsen as he tried to clear.
He does. I think it's is it my no, I can't remember who it was, but one of the Celtic players definitely. Is it Narovsky?
The ball eventually comes off Harry Milne, but actually it looked as if Clancy had maybe blown for the free kick or had signalled for the free kick first.
Nah, no penalty, not given.
Nah, it's not.
Nah.
It shouldn't have been.
Nah, I think it was Nielsen, Michael. Was fouled?
Yes, it was.
He tried to swipe it away and he gets contact from behind.
Yeah, it was. But irrespective of whether that happened or not, it was good to see that they weren't given a penalty kick for the handball. It's leathered at somebody from the yard
Milne's
away.
arm actually comes out, Michael, because he's claiming for the foul, so he almost kind of puts his arms out in protest just to say that there's been a foul. That's when the ball gets lashed off him from close range.
Right, let's get to Stephen McGinn. He's watching the game at Easter Road. Hibs at home to St Johnstone. What's happening in the early stages there, Stephen?
Not a lot, Kenny, unless you're in the market for offsides. I think St Johnstone will be happier with the tempo of the game. I watched them through in Paisley against St Mirren and really kind of played out the first half in terms of keeping possession, slowing the tempo down and having a real go in the second half. So it's playing out a bit like that. I think Dave Gray will be wanting more from his Hibs side in terms of tempo.
Would you make Hibs favourite to finish third spot in the league, Stephen?
Yeah, on the basis of, they're playing better than Aberdeen. I think they're really, they've not started great, but they never look really like they're giving much away. They've got goal threats across the park, 14 unbeaten. I think they've got to be favourites. Right,
let's get to Kerridin. We just heard briefly from you there, Kerridin. Very good, you were saying, in the early stages from Dunfermline down there at Somerset Park.
Yeah, they've really settled well. They've just given away a free kick though, midway inside their opponent's half there, Dunfermline. But yeah, they've been compact, they've been organised, good energy. They've had 4 corners. Ayr United are struggling more than Athletic are in terms of the conditions here. Signs now that they're just about building their way into the game. What we played 15 minutes, no goals, no real massive chances. But Dunfermline playing pretty well. They've certainly had most of the pressure. Can Ayr United from this free kick do something maybe?
Any early chances at Capello, Robbie Loy?
Dan O'Reilly just had a glancing header go by the post from a really good delivery from Logan Chalmers, but other than that, Partick trying to play probably more football. Derek touched on the conditions and the team that needs to be braver and get the ball down and play. That probably is Partick Thistle, but Morton looked just as effective going the other way. But in terms of actual chances, not a lot, Kenny. Still 0-0.
Right, an electric start for you up there.
I don't think that's a foul.
Oh, right, Alan.
Celtic fans are fuming. I don't think it is. I think it's a poor touch from Cabangu, and Carter Vickers is behind him. Let's hearts off a little bit there. For me, I don't think that's a free kick. Just a poor touch.
Kevin Nisbet, Kenny, Aberdeen have been brilliant. They really have. I'd said they started the game really strongly. They then went behind, but it hasn't put them off at all. Nisbet's looked sharp. Clarkson's looked sharp. Keskinen's looking electric when he's carrying the ball. Even Oakle's down this left-hand side. They really are on the front foot. That was a shot from the edge of the box by Nisbet. Smart save down to the left-hand side by Ellery Balcom. We're what 15 minutes into this game, and we could have been far more than the 2 goals already. A really good, exciting game of football up here.
Craigs, is Nisbet playing kind of just off the striker in that number 10, like he's a bit deeper, or is he right up against the back line of Motherwell?
Well, him and clearance. Him and Pat Maguire are interchanging, Rory. Sometimes it's Nisbet playing right up as a number 9, sometimes it's Pat Maguire. Nisbet more often than not, and I think it's suiting him. He likes playing right up against centre half. He likes getting shots off. His link-up play's good, and he looks in a real...
There's a chance, Maeda's through. Craig Gordon, he beat. Goal! That's brilliant play from Celtic, actually. Hearts are trying to win the ball at the edge of the box. Eventually, McGregor gets sprung. And it's a brilliant pass through to Maeda, and the man in form, Scotland's Player of the Year, rolls it behind Craig Gordon. Celtic 1, Hearts 0.
It's so simple, Alan. It's everything that yourself and Michael touched on at the start of the game, though, with regards to Hearts and what they would need to get right. And you've described Hearts going and getting after the ball higher up the pitch, but it's when they lose it, the ball's fed to McGregor. He's only got one thing in his mind, McGregor, and that's to play forward. And the run from Dyson Maeda just makes up his mind. The pace and the lack of pace in the Hearts backline to go and recover and defend that space in behind, and it's a lovely finish, but so simple, Kenny. You're looking at it as well. It's a side foot finish into the bottom corner. He really is outstanding. He's having another brilliant season at Celtic, is Maeda.
Yeah, just too easy, Michael.
Just look at Benny Beningame here. Right. Look at Benny Beningame. There's the problem. He's sitting in a position but not affecting the game at all. So you look at Hearts pressing as a unit and doing really well. Cammy Devlin's then bursting a gut to try to get back in connection with Callum McGregor, who's recognises just clever play.
What a pass from McGregor, wasn't it?
It's a wonderful pass, but it's where he steps into the space, because he recognises they're being pressed. So rather than him sitting in a number 6 position, he steps forward into the space, and Benny Beningame is too slow to recognise that he needs to slide across. I mean, you'll see it later on in the telly, but Hearts collectively is
backline are too high though as well, do you not think? When you look at the distance between the midfield and the backline, there's probably about 8 yards.
But they're too high. Well, I would say there's too big a gap between the defence and the midfield, because Benny Beningame not slid across in to fill that gap. They're too high because it ends up being no pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
But if somebody's in there filling that gap, I think the whole team is well positioned. The problem is one person, switches off, doesn't concentrate. Good play from Celtic, and they're punished. Bang, 1-0, they're down. And now, as I said before, how do they continue to play? I thought they've started pretty well, Hearts. I think they've started pretty well.
Michael, they've done, but you're right, it's a lack of pace at the back. It really is. You can't afford to defend high up the park with a lack of pace, given the ground that Maeda can cover, and 20-30 yards there. He was through, and it's a really good finish from him. But Hearts have started well, but it just shows how clinical Celtic can be.
You can do it, Al, but the problem is it doesn't matter whether you've got pace or not. If you're playing high and there's no pressure on the ball, you're running the risk. Correct. Especially with the likes of Maeda there. And that's the problem. That gap in the middle of the park just opened up. Good clever play for Callum McGregor to step into the space, and all of a sudden they've broken through that initial press, and it's turned and facing their own goal, and it's a foot race of which few are going to be able to match Maeda. And then not only that, the thing that has been so impressive from Dyson Maeda, it's the calmness and the composure. As soon as he's running through there, at no point are you thinking, he's going to slash it and he's going to miss the target, which, by the way, 18 months ago you would have thought it's a toss of a coin. Now, no chance. Opens his body up and slides into the bottom corner. It's a great finish.
East Fife 0, Spartans 1. Jamie Dishington with the opening goal there in 17 minutes. I'll bring you up to date with all the latest scores. Quite a few early goals going in today. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 1, Celtic 1, Hearts 0, Hibs 0, St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0. 5:30 start. Full commentary to come. Dundee are at home to Rangers. 3 games in the Championship today. All goalless. Ayr against Dunfermline, Hamilton Accies against Raith Rovers, Morton against Partick Thistle. In League 1, Alloa 0, Dumbarton 0, Annan Athletic 0, Kelty Hearts 0. The leaders are Broth 1, Cove Rangers 0, Cúna the South 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Montrose 0. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Elgin City 0, East Fife 0, Spartans 1, Forfar 0, Peterhead 0. Peterhead down to 10 men in that game. Stirling Albion 0, Edinburgh City 0, and a delayed kick-off. Stranraer 0, Clyde 0, just 5 minutes played in that one. Let's get back then to the game.
Delay here, Kenny, just to cut in here, sorry to interrupt. There's a stretcher on here. There's a problem here for one of the Dunfermline players. I think it's Connor Young, who's just been brought back into the team by Neil Lennon. He's been down. It's the furthest away bit of the pitch from
Goal for Hibs!
Tell me sure what happened, but he's down.
Steve McGinn.
It's an absolute pelter from Junior Hoylett. Honestly, it's the first time Hibs have kind of been into St Johnson's box round about it. Martin Boyle had a chance a minute ago. He was looking for a penalty just before it.
What a goal.
Junior Hoylett at his best, cut in, top corner, 1-0 Hibs.
It was good play for the Martin Boyle, and then just after it, it looked like there were, quite a few nice wee intricate 1-2s and trying to open St Johnstone up, but it just comes from second phase, balls out to Junior Hoylett, as Stephen was saying, and inside left channel, Nixon on his right foot and just bends it into the far corner. That's a great goal.
Yeah, very good. So
there's a chance for Hearts as a free kick, 23 yards, slightly left as centre.
What a goal that is.
It's a chance here for, you think, Penrice. Forrester who's the right foot, Penrice is the left. Celtic have got a 5-man wall. It was another foul by Carter Vickers on Hearts' Cabangu at the edge of the box. So
I don't know what he was complaining about, Alan.
Nah, straight at the wall. The rebound, straight at the wall again, and it's hit over the bar.
See that goal at Easter Road that we were talking before the second phase. They had the ball on the edge of the box. They're trying to play little 1-2s. They lost the ball, and then 2-3 Hibs players very quickly snapping in and winning the ball back on the edge of the box, just through the fact of people, instantly going and working the backside off to go and win the ball back. There was no switching off and they've lost the ball there. There was like 2 or 3 of them. I think it was Kieran Bowie originally, and then I don't know who the second one was, but they snapped in.
Should have been a goal.
Yes, Derek.
And won the ball, and then ultimately
should have been a goal. That's brilliant play from Kilmarnock. Donnelly just receiving the ball on the left-hand side. He just whips it over to that far end back post. It's Watkins there. I think he's only 4 or 5 yards out. He's got to keep it down. Keeps it down. It's in the back of the net, but heads it just over. Should do better for me. First real bit of quality this afternoon for Kilmarnock, who look a bit stunned, I've got to say, Kenny. What a brilliant start it was, obviously, from this St Mirren side. You got it. I mean, Stevie Robertson
off the post. Goal, 2-0. It's a magnificent ball, and it's flicked on by Dyson Maeda off the post. Craig Gordon's furious with the referee for some reason, I don't know what, but it comes off and it comes back, and there's Jota rolls it into the back of the net. I don't know why Craig Gordon's gone berserk here.
We'll get a wee look at that one in a minute, Leanne. Just waiting for the replay.
I wonder if he feels maybe there's been a player in an offside position interfering. He seems pretty animated about it, Craig Gordon. First view, and I didn't see an awful lot wrong with it, I would need to say. Good ball over the top. Maeda does everything right, just looking to try and direct it on target. Just seeing it just now in terms of the build-up play. Kunit was in the right-hand side. Nice wee interchange, clip ball over the top. Maeda looks good to me. He's onside.
Was Nicholas Kunit offside originally?
No, I thought he looked okay, Michael. I thought he looked okay.
But even if he was, there's no way Craig would have...
that's interfering,
No, and also it would have been absolutely marginal and minute.
Yeah.
He would never have known.
Yeah, and Jota...
I don't know what it is that he's...
reads the play really well in terms of following in.
Did Craig Gordon think that when Sinisolo started it away back that the ball was moving? I don't know. Because I can't see why Craig's moaning at that, because there didn't seem to be anything in that from me, and it's the only thing I can think of, that he's maybe thinking that when it's coming to the keeper at the other end, the ball's still moving, which we've had before actually at Pittodrie this year.
Yeah, big celebrations from Jota there. Alloa 1, Dumbarton 0. Luke Donnelly on 22 minutes. Confirmation that goal. Nice finish from Junior Hoylett, 80 minutes.
Again.
Yes.
Nielsen. It's a race, and it's Kuhn over the top. They almost get there. He's lucky. Nielsen, he really is. Celtic are flying now.
Stretchered off here for Ayr United. It's sad scenes here. It's taken a long time. We've not really played for the last 5 or 6 minutes. He's had medical attention, put on the stretcher. He's been stretchered off in front of me now. And Ephraim Yeboah is on for Dunfermline. That's a real shame for Connor Young. Back in the team, but it only lasted 20 minutes.
Thanks to Kerridine. Stennismuir 0, Montrose 1. Callum Sandilands on 25 minutes. Cunha the South 0. Inverness Cali Thistle 1. Alfie Stewart on 24 minutes. Just seen Exeter City. Gary Caldwell's Exeter City behind at home to Wrexham. Did you guys see this story this week?
Yeah, it needs to be more English.
What did What do you make of that? He thought he got sent to the stands because of his Scottish accent.
Aye, well,
coming across a bit aggressively.
Well, to be fair, I can understand the point he's actually trying to make, but I wouldn't articulate
You're
it
too
like
aggressive,
that.
Kenny.
Well, that has been said occasionally, but I mean, he felt hard done by, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. And then I've not quite heard that defence being used, but I do understand the point he's making that, the accent and the voice and the general, it can be picked up as being aggressive. I didn't think that when he was articulating what was going on in his house was much of a defence either.
No, I heard that, yes. Yeah. It wasn't a great defence.
Kenny, it's like that sketch. It's like that sketch of the two guys in the lift trying to shout 11. You saw that one?
No, I've not seen
that. They try to say it and then they try... Come on, you must have saw that.
I've seen it.
They need to say it in a posh voice, in different voices, because it will not understand the Scottish voice. So I can't believe you've not heard or you've not seen that.
No, I've not watched that. I'll need to have a look out for that one. Yeah, he felt hard done by, did Gary Caldwell this week. Let's. What about your game then, Darren? I was saying concerning times for Kilmarnock fans right now. Maybe they could be looking over the shoulder of that relegation playoff spot.
Yeah, got to be really careful, and I tell you what, they've been fought and out battled. I was going to say that earlier. I think Stevie Robinson was a little bit upped in terms of saying that his side are much more than that, and they are. They've got some good players, but what you have got to admire, it's their desire, their hunger in atrocious conditions, and the way they're putting themselves, they're applying themselves. They're first to everything. Their reactions are absolutely brilliant, and they're trying to get the ball to the front too as quick as, and they look really dangerous, and they're playing to the conditions. So that's why we're trying to say it is a compliment to Stevie Robinson's side, because we always talk about how they're well organised and that, and we know they've got good players, but it's just they're out battling this Killie side. They're too physical for them at the moment, and Kilmarnock are struggling.
And Derek, it works because they're in with a very good chance for the third consecutive year of finishing in the top six.
Yeah, see that again. I just lost you for a moment.
I'm saying whatever he's doing, Derek, it works because they're in with a decent chance of making the top six for the third time in 3 years.
Yeah, I think we all know he's a good manager. He's proved that over the years, and I just think maybe he just gets a little bit fed up because we use that. We keep saying that, you know. Yeah, he's organised. His team are really physical. We get that there is some terrific players out there. I mean, in the middle of the park, Boyd Munce, Phillips, you know, some of the goals that Phillips has scored of late, you know, are top draw. So, but I just admire the application, that desire, because sometimes it's a horrible day, but sometimes players in the past I've played with, the boys have probably played them as well, don't fancy it, but everyone that's at Merseyside, they fancy this today. You can just see that hunger in them.
So some other goals flying in this afternoon. Athletic nil, Kelty Hearts 1, Liam Brown on 25 minutes. Montrose now 2-0 up away at Stenhousemuir. Owen Sturton on 28 minutes, and Queen of the South have equalised very quickly at home to Inverness. Cally Thistle one apiece there. Jack Hanna with that goal on 29 minutes. What's happening at Pittodrie, Stephen Craigan?
Yeah, there's a little bit of discontent amongst the Motherwell players. They felt as if Pat Maguire should have maybe had a red card instead of a yellow. He had a bit of a lunge at Andy Halliday. I've had a look back at it. He does that scissors motion, but I think his feet are on the ground and it's not off the ground, so that's why the yellow card has stood. But I have to say, Aberdeen have been really good this afternoon. The movement of the front four, the possession of Palaversa and Leighton Clarkson, and Graham Shinney, I think, is probably in his best position for me as a left back. He's had some really marauding runs down the left hand side. When you look at the movement of Clarkson and the passing ability of Palaversa, you can see why Graham Shinney is out in this left-hand side. I think those two players are probably slightly ahead of him as midfield players, but he brings great energy, great appetite down the left-hand side. Him and Oakles have caused Motherwell all sorts of problems, and I think Motherwell are just hanging on a little bit at times because the home side have been dominant. They've been short and sharp with their pass. There's a real aggression and dynamism about how they're going about the game, so it's been a really good watch.
It's been a great start for Celtic at home to Hearts this afternoon. Alan Preston 2-0 up there, half an hour played. A bit of a concern for you that it could be a few more today?
Yeah, I thought that anyway, Kenny. I really did. I think then Hearts try to press high up the park. As soon as that first goal goes in, they then have to try and change, which they have done. They're sitting off a bit more now. Hearts just simply need to get the next goal to make a contest of this. If it goes 3, it's damage limitation after that. But Celtic are starting to stroke the ball about. The keeper looks comfortable with the ball at his feet. And the little movements of Hatate and McGregor and Engels in the middle of the park, for one of them to get free is a joy to watch.
I think look, I think Hearts have approached the game quite well, and I think they've done, on the whole, not too badly.
Michael.
The problem, Al, is, as we've spoken about a million times, it's not just pace, but then the other issues that you've got. And for me, the middle of the park, Hearts don't have enough athleticism.
Oh, sitter Hibs. Kukarevich, I don't know how he's missed. It's a brilliant ball from Jordan Abita. And Kukarevich, his movement's brilliant, and he seems to get the contact. He goes with his right foot instead of his head. He's got to score that.
Oh, jeez. I was just going to say earlier on, I was talking about how Kieran Bowie had put the initial pressure on. It wasn't him, it was obviously Kukarevich who's starting instead, and he's come up there in a great position, and he's got to score, as you said. Great ball from Abita.
There was two brilliant balls, Stephen, because there was one before it that came for the right hand side. It was fizzed
another chance here. St Johnstone caught in the ball. Martin Boyle against Barry Douglas. 2-0 Hibs. Too easy. St Johnstone caught, trying to play out. Martin Boyle got Barry Douglas faced up, and he uses in between his legs to beat Fisher and make it 2-0 to Hibs.
Do you know, Stephen, that just falls firmly into the category of what we heard the manager talking about before, in terms of they've having defended better recently, Valakari, and they've not really, they've given themselves an opportunity to stay in games. That there just falls right back into the, what they've been doing previously. I mean, that is just, that's terrible. You've got a midfielder, and by the way, I'm trying to remember, was it the Kilmarnock game I think St Johnstone played against?
It was, Michael, yes.
It was at Rugby Park, exactly the same, Craigs, wasn't it? Midfielder coming to the ball.
Must be surely. What a chance. They've got sorted up. Curtis Main should be putting Ayr United 1-0 up there. He's made the keeper able to save it from about 2-3 yards out. It's gone out for Ayer's second corner. Much better from Ayr United in the past couple of minutes, but no wonder Curtis Main has his head in his hands right now. Should be 1-0 Ayr.
Good goal from Martin Boyle, right? But I mean, from St John's perspective, that's why they're going to get relegated. That's why they're going to get relegated, because that is basics from a midfielder, right? You're coming towards the ball, you're 25 yards out, he's closed his shoulders, he's facing directly back at the keeper. He's got no clue what's around him.
Michael, see, even if he gets on the turn and there's no pressure, I don't know where he's going after that, because there's actually no St Johnstone players in that next layer that are looking to try and build the game. Hibs have set the trap really well. They've just went, there you go, feed it into the middle of the pitch, locked on, win it back, goal. So poor.
Again, you feel it could be a few there this afternoon, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, I think Hibs have got levels in them, haven't they? And I think the big difference for them has been when they've gone ahead in games and they take that kind of stranglehold in games and control it, and certainly they look, well in control this afternoon. They don't even necessarily, now I'm looking at the pictures, they're not having to get after St Johnstone at certain points, Stephen.
You're right, Leanne. Honestly, they're just got a good shape. They're still in first gear. They're just waiting for St Johnstone to give the ball away and then
make mistakes. Exactly. Yeah, don't waste energy. Just keep a good structure underneath the ball, and you've got pace that can cause
good
problems.
Save, Craig Gordon. He gets a break in the ball slip. You think he's going to pass it wide to Jota. He gets a little break. He's through one-on-one with Gordon. A tight angle, good save by the keeper. Hits his leg.
So Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 1, Celtic 2, Hearts 0, Hibs 2, St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0, 2 early goals there, 5:30 start. Dundee at home to Rangers, 3 games in the Championship this afternoon. We are at 2 of them. Hamilton Accies 0, Wraith Rovers 0. Let's get to Kerry Nidsan down at Somerset Park. Ayr United at home to Dunfermline.
There's a chance. Really good play again by Celtic on the right hand side. It's Kuhn to Johnson, he cuts it back, eventually comes back to Slip, 25 yards, gets the shot horribly wrong, but it's all Celtic at the moment.
Karen, have we looked down at the dugouts? What's it been like there, Scott Brown and Neil Lennon?
Well, Scott Brown's a wee bit more animated now because Ayr United have started to play. We're 10 minutes away from half-time, although there's going to be at least 5 minutes added on, I would suspect, because of that injury to Connor Young, who was stretchered off. Finally, Ayr have started to play, but Neil Lennon's been much more composed and much the happier of the two gaffers, you would say, because Dunfermline have had more of the ball, they played more of the football in really poor conditions, but it's calmed down here a wee bit in terms of the weather. Ayr are starting to play, and Curtis Main, a couple of minutes ago, should have put Ayr United 1-0 up, but Dunfermline were trying to play out from the back. Dylan Watrett pinched the ball away, nice wee cross, and Main tried to volley it, and he was inside the 6-yard box. Keeper Oloyemi was able to make the save, but they should be 1-0 up.
Also tough conditions down at Capello. Rory Law, is that having a big effect in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to give the players that excuse, but there's been times from dead ball situation, things with the quality, it quite simply hasn't been there. The ball's changed hands far too often. It's been up in the air. Both teams, Partick did try and play in the first 5-10 10 minutes, but I mean it's just been so direct from both sides, which I can understand to a degree, but there has been little to no attempt to even get the ball down in play since those opening exchanges. Cameron Belouza's had a couple of really good opportunities, one which he didn't quite catch the ball, and the second one it was a really good block. So look, it's not great. One interesting thing I have found is Ryan Mullen.
Have a look at this goal. It's unbelievable play from Aberdeen. It's a short corner taken in the right hand side. It's played into the feet of someone. I can't see who it is from here. It's laid back to the corner taker, back to Leighton Clarkson on the edge of the box, takes a touch, measures up the shot and puts it into the far corner. And I have to say, it's nothing more than they deserve this afternoon. They've been so impressive, so aggressive, so much cohesion about their play straight off the training ground. And it's Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1.
He's a good player, isn't he, Clarkson? He's got real quality.
He's very technical, Kenny, and a lovely goal. Just waiting to get the replay on it, but the execution, absolutely spot on. I just wonder, Motherwell again, I think we spoke the other week, Craigs, about the defensive shape and the defensive structure at points. They're just too slow to get to the ball, to go and empty their box, and they just don't read it well enough. They've been caught. I mean, Aberdeen work it pretty well, the short corner. Clearly one off the training ground set routine, looking for that late arrival at the edge of the box, which is Clarkson, and he dispatches it really well, guides it into that far corner. Lovely stuff.
Aberdeen have turned things around there. Sorry, Rory, we cut you off there. You were about to share something with us?
No, it's just Ryan Mullen, the goalkeeper for Morton. I mean, you know that the guys might understand what I mean in the studio. You know that way where you just punt the ball up in the air as high as you can to test your touch. You know, you usually see goalkeepers kicking it, you know, in a certain fashion this way to try and find a player, but literally it's going into the heavens every time he gets it.
Oh, he's got to score, young Wilson. It's a really good ball to the back post by Penrice. It's a free header. He's got to hit the target.
Oh,
that's a huge chance.
Big chance. Lovely delivery for Penrice. It broke down initially actually from Hearts. They were lucky to get a second bite at it, but no, he's got to do better. At a minimal, you need to hit the target. At Celtic Park, you won't get many better opportunities.
Touch, Rory Loy?
Well, probably not as consistent as yours, Derek, but I mean the ball is bouncing in the middle of the pitch and the pitch is heavy and it's just dying a death. It's so competitive out there, but look, as I say, I don't want to be too critical, but there's been times where the quality's got to be better and you can't really blame the conditions, but it's 0-0 and I don't see a breakthrough anytime soon, I have to say.
Rory, kick us off then.
Kenny, I think the players...
You go, Derek.
No, sorry, Ken. I think the players are serving up a great game here. Yeah, again, you look at St Mirren and admire everything about them in terms of, you know, that hunger, that desire. But there is times they're playing some good football. I think as the game's wearing on, they're starting to realise, get the ball in the deck, zip it about, and so it's an exciting game because Kelly, you can just see them starting to get a wee kind of foothold in the game at times, starting to get themselves up the park. So difficult as it is. No, it's a good game I'm watching here.
Yeah, staying with St Mirren then, I was going to ask the guys, Rory, you kick us off, given the signing of Victor Wanyama by Dunfermline, the biggest wow signings in Scottish football. I was suggesting Eric Jemba at St Mirren, certainly one that didn't work. For you, Rory, give us a name.
Well, that reminds me of Riyad Mahrez, who went on trial with St Mirren. Remember that? And they didn't actually sign him.
No.
He did. We also had, when I was at Rangers, Kenwyn Jones, who went on to score a few. So I'm kind of going down a different track here in terms of your question. But Kenwyn Jones came into Rangers. He was put with the reserves. He played centre back for a game. The 2 games, didn't end up coming back and went down to the Premiership and started banging them in for Stoke up front.
The one that got away.
Yeah.
Stephen Craigan.
Oh, is that a penalty?
Wait a minute, right there. Have a look at this.
Yeah, have a wee look. Kenny, you were talking about George Albers. I heard you with Tam.
Aye.
And Stuart at lunchtime. Yeah, it was John Brown that brought him to Clyde.
Ah, right.
That's who it was. And I heard you talking about Chris Waddle. I was at Falkirk when Chris came. You ought to see him. He was top drawer. Yeah, he only played about 7 or 8 games, but sheer class. Absolutely brilliant to train with. I only played about 2 or 3 games with him, but he was brilliant.
A good guy as well, Derek.
Yeah, and again, sometimes guys, when they're as good as they are, but sometimes they can disappoint you. Chris didn't, he was just so down to earth, just a great lad, and it was just we just couldn't believe that we were getting him. He was coming to Falkirk.
There's a chance for Celtic again. If he squares it, Maeda's in, and he's in. 3-0. Once again, lack of pace in the Hearts back line. It's a simple ball down the outside. Milne can't catch him. You could see it. Maeda's tearing away from Nielsen in the middle. It's just a square ball. Maeda rolls in the back of the net. Game done. 3-0.
It's just too easy, isn't it?
Far too easy.
Maeda doesn't look like he's broke sweat. Like the Hearts back line are literally treading water, but you can tell they're putting everything in it to try and recover. But pace-wise, it's a complete mismatch, and that is the risk-free reward when you look to try and be more aggressive and keep a relatively high line. I mean, Hearts' starting positions they're squeezing the game right up to the halfway line, but Celtic, when they go, they're gone. There's no catching them.
I mean, Maeda is. I mean, we spoke about at the start of the programme.
He's 30 goals.
I mean, look, he's actually incredible. I mean, Brendan Rodgers spoke yesterday about talks underway to try and extend his deal. What a bit of business that would be, because he's nailed on for Player of the Year for starters, isn't he?
I think so, yeah, I think so. I mean, it would be interesting to see where his head's at. Does he want to stay at Celtic? Will there be transfer interest from elsewhere? Does he fancy going and really testing how good he can be out with Scotland? It'll be a really interesting time for Celtic. Look, he's been outstanding. He's been a joy to watch since he's come to Scotland. I think he's adapted as well. You can clearly see the strengths to his game, whether he's playing off the side, he's playing through the middle, in and out of possession. He's a huge asset. He's everything that Celtic are all about in an afternoon like this.
Do you think Leanne's seen the likes of Jota going away, having a couple of clubs, and coming back to Celtic, and he's probably saying about how he wished he never left, etc. And then obviously you've got Kyogo, who's not having a great time about Rennes so far. Do you think players look at that?
I think Jota's absolutely delighted with how things panned out.
Well, yes, in a financial sense, possibly, Michael. But
yeah, but also because the fact he's been away. So
Glennon 1-0 Ayr United. They finally started playing about 5-6 minutes ago, and now they've got the reward. We're 3 minutes from the nominal half-time whistle, although there's going to be a ton of time added on. But finally Ayr United have the breakthrough. Brilliant strike from the edge of the area from Conor McLennan. It is Ayr United 1, Neil Lennon's Dunfermline Athletic 0.
Yeah, big setback there. They started the game quite brightly, you'd have to say that, down there at Somerset Park. A bit of first stop.
Can you have a look if it's a foul, Devlin on McGregor, because Hearts were through 2-on-1.
No, I think it's just before Devlin nips onto the ball. It's Lon Shankland, I think, that's been penalised. I'd need to see it again, but it's not Cammy Devlin.
Neil Critchley's going berserk.
Yeah. To go back to the point or to go back to the Celtic goal there as well, it was good play for Kuhn. That's the difference again. See, being direct, the ball, he's running on it, there's no other thought in his mind in terms of getting in behind the defence and squaring it. And see when wide men in particular just simplify the game like that, that's where the effectiveness comes in, and the end product is a third goal.
Thanks, Rory. Disappointing game down there. It's an important game for both these clubs in terms of the battle for that final playoff spot in the Championship. Let's get back to Pittodrie. You were saying the home side, good value for the lead there, Stephen Craig.
There's a chance again. Saved by Craig Gordon. Celtic are all over Hearts. Neil Critchley's asking Craig Gordon to calm down, don't throw the ball out quick. They need to get a half time, try and regroup. Game's done. Just need to keep the score down if they can.
Yeah, I was speaking about that battle for the final playoff spot in the Championship. Wraith Rovers have gone ahead away at Hamilton Accies. Dylan Easton on 43 minutes. What's happening at Pittodrie, Stephen?
Yeah, we're just edging towards half-time, Kenny, and I think Aberdeen will be disappointed they're not more than one goal up in this game. For Motherwell, I think they'll be happier to get the half-time worst-case scenario as it is. They've had a little bit of a push in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Andy Halliday went through a couple of minutes ago. Leanne was speaking. It wasn't a clear-cut chance, but it was probably one of the best passages of play they've had for about half an hour in the game. Halliday got into the box. He fell over and he couldn't generate enough power to get the shot towards goal. But they have an in-swinging free kick here. I think we're just about just 4 added minutes have gone up. We've just entered the 4 minutes. So if Motherwell could get level before half-time, I think they'd be ecstatic with themselves, because Aberdeen at times have blown them away. How they pressed, how they went about their business, the dynamism, the cohesion, everything you want in your team, and Aberdeen needed on a big day for them. They've been excellent, but Motherwell still in there, but trailing by 1 goal. And is it going to be Armstrong? Oh, there was the free kick, in swinging free kick. Halliday. Dan Casey wins the ball and flicks it on Armstrong, and Doohan go for it. Doohan gets there first, little coming together, but he relieves all the pressure.
Stennismuir 0, Montrose 3, Callum Sandilands in first half stoppage time. Stirling Albion 1, Edinburgh City 0, James Graham 45. Yes, Alan?
Hearts are all over the place at the back again. Sloop it is on the left hand side, knocks it back, comes to McGregor, gets a break of the ball, eventually comes back to Hatate, and his shot goes over the top of the crossbar. But Celtic, when they break, it's real pace, real positivity from them. They're just trying to get as many goals as they can, and we're into 2 added on minutes with Celtic lead 3-0.
Yeah, speaking of positivity, Stephen, again, we've got the 4 games coming in here, but every time I look up, my eye goes to the game at Easter Road. It just seems to be one-way traffic there.
Yeah, it is, and part of that's because St Johnstone don't have any way of getting out of their half. They've no pace, nobody to carry the ball. The only positive for Simo Valakari that he has the guys on the bench. I would be shocked if there isn't changes at half time to try and get some attacking impetus in the game.
And Derek McInnes badly in need of a lifeline there at Paisley at St Mirren Park. Derek Ferguson.
Oh, yeah, he needs something, Kenny. I tell you what, they were fortunate. Phillips just sliding in there. You know, he's only inches away from putting his side 3-0 up. So yeah, I think the quicker the first half ends for Derek McInnes, the better, and that has just ended, Kenny. So 2-0 to St Mirren at half time.
Yeah, 2 quick-fire goals there in the early stages for the home side. Caelan Boyd-Munson 6 minutes. The keeper had to do better, and then Adoua with a penalty on 9 minutes. Looked quite a soft penalty, but really nice penalty taken from Adoua with the keeper. No chance with that one. Junior Hoyle in 80 minutes. Martin Boyle in 29. Hibs 2-0 up at home to St Johnstone. Celtic cruising at home to Hearts 3-0. Yeah, chance?
Yeah, half time at Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Double from Dyson Maeda, 1 from Jota. There was a chance there.
Yeah, there's a chance up at Pittodrie. Togles this time in the left-hand side up against Stephen O'Donnell inside the box. He chops back onto his right foot, has the shot that Ellery Balcom fumbles back into play. Motherwell managed to get around him and throw it out. Put it out for a corner kick, but that would have been a real blow for them. Dan Casey eventually clears the ball, but there's a corner kick to come and we're into the last minute.
Yeah, Aberdeen have fought back in that game, and Stephen's saying they're unlucky not to be further ahead there at Pittodrie. Just seen pictures of the players leaving the pitch at half time at Celtic Park. The camera is on Jota. He got his goal there, big celebrations from him. But once again, the star of the show, Dyson Maeda. He's got a double in that game, 17 and 41. Jota with a goal in between on 24 minutes. Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1. Motherwell after a flyer there, Callum Slattery after 5 minutes. Dorrington and Clarkson, a lovely goal from Clarkson, have the Dons in front up there, and as I said, 2-0 to St Mirren at home to Kilmarnock. Also 2-0 Easter Road. Hibs up against St Johnstone in the Championship this afternoon. Goalless in the game at Capello. Morton against Partick Thistle. Ayr United 1, Dunfermline 0. Conor McLennan on 43 minutes, and Raith Rovers still very much in the mix for that final playoff spot in the Championship. 1-0 up away against Hamilton Accies. Dylan Easton with that goal on 43 minutes. If Neil Lennon's Dunfermline do go on to lose at Somerset Park, perhaps some good news coming his way if Accies don't take something from their game, because Dunfermline very much have Accies in their sights, get away from that situation towards the bottom of the Championship table. So still playing at Pittodrie and still playing at Easter Road, Steve McGinn?
Yeah, we're still playing. I think a minute added on time, so yeah, I expect it to finish 2-0, nothing happening.
But he's got options in the bench team of Valakari, but how brave does he be in the second half, Stephen?
He's got no option. I think he has these. If you're going 1-0, maybe you leave it 15-20 minutes. 2-0, they have to go for it from half time.
Half time here, Kenny. Pittodrie, Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1.
Yeah, just watch that Leighton Clarkson goal. You'll see it on Sports Scene this evening. A lovely finish from the edge of the box. Still going at Somerset Park, Kerry Dead Stan.
We are 49 minutes and 30 seconds and counting. That's because poor Connor Young was stretchered off after just 20 minutes. Ayr nearly got a second. A brilliant free kick from Scott McMahon, about an inch or so above the junction of post and crossbar. But as we tick towards 50 minutes here at rainy Somerset Park, the home fans are happy enough because they lead by a goal to 0.
Yeah, they certainly are happy in that one. We'll give you a full rundown of all the scores at half time, and in the Championship we'll give you the 3 games there. Games, full cards in League 1 and League 2 this afternoon. Down in England, the main feature, the quarter-finals of the FA Cup down there. So plenty more to come on sports. Over on the telly today, BBC Scotland from 4:30 until 5:20. The action continues, of course, on the radio. 5:30 start. Full coverage to come from Dens Park. Dundee at home to Rangers. Stay with us. All the half-time reports to come right here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sport Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sport Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
Right, let's start our journey around the grounds and get the half-time reports. No shortage of goals or drama in the first halves across the country. First stop, Celtic Park, the first of our commentary games today. Celtic at home to Hearts. Let's hear from Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod.
Well, Kenny, Kyogo Furuhashi's best goal-scoring season for Celtic saw him notch 34 for the club. Daizen Maeda has taken his tally up to 30, so he's just 4 behind Kyogo's best, which again just shows how good a campaign that Maeda is having. He scored either side of a Jota goal to give Celtic a 3-0 lead here, and it all came after a bright start by Hearts and a big opportunity for Lewis Nielsen early on, with Sinisalo making a big save as he begins his stint in goal for the champions, with Kasper Schmeichel out with that shoulder injury. You know, a really good reactive save there from Nielsen. It came from a corner, and Hearts settled very well in the game, but then came the sucker punch, and Celtic, despite not playing particularly well, going in front, a wonderful weight of ball from McGregor. Maeda was in behind. Classic Maeda. Too much pace for the Hearts defence, and he slotted home into the bottom right corner. 6 minutes later, Jota made it 2. Again, Maeda involved. Flick header came cannoning off the post. Fell kindly for Jota, who smashed it home into the empty net to make it 2. James Wilson had a huge opportunity to reduce the deficit as the ball in from the left found him at the back post. He was all alone, but he headed it wide, having made his senior Scotland debut 6 nights ago. And then Maeda made it 3 there. This time Nicholas Kuhn was the set-up man. Across the face of goal, Maeda at the back post to make it 3. Surely game over at that point, Packy Bonner. Neil Critchley down there, he'll be frustrated. He's got another 45 minutes of this to negotiate, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'll be worried because, you know, they took a risk early on and nearly give them the reward of getting that goal that Sinisalo saved, but as soon as Celtic hit their stride, and I've got to say the first goal was a magnificent pass and goal, and they've got that ability in the team, and you know, you can press them, you can do all of that, but if you don't get it right on occasions, they will cut you up, and they've done it now. And the 3 goals that Celtic scored have been excellent goals, and that's been the difference. You know, again, taking your chances when they come around, and Celtic just clinical, but now I've almost in the rhythm of their game, and they're in a great position to go on and win this game with a lot more goals.
Half-time at Celtic Park sees the champions leading Hearts by 3-0.
Full second half commentary to come from Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod. Next stop at Tawdry, Aberdeen at home to Motherwell. Let's get the half-time report from Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, and I have to say, Ken, they've been treated to a very impressive game here this afternoon. It only took 90 seconds for the action to get really underway. Topi Keskinen ran across the near post, had a lovely little strike with his left foot, just unfortunately for him went the wrong side of the post into the side netting. But surprisingly, it was Motherwell that took the lead after 5 minutes. Harry Payton does really well in the second phase of a corner kick, keeps the ball alive, goes past Kevin Nisbet, gets to the byline. And you always encourage players, when you get to the byline, can you stand the ball up to the back post? Take the goalkeeper out of play, who usually stands at the near post. That's exactly what happened. And in came Callum Slattery, met it flush in off the crossbar to give Motherwell a 1-0 lead. But that certainly didn't put Aberdeen off. Leighton Clarkson played a lovely little ball into the feet of Kevin Nisbet. He turned and fed Topi Keskinen, went through one-on-one with Ellery Balcom, but a really smart save down to his right-hand side. But it was only a matter of moments later, 13 minutes into the game, Aberdeen were level. Corner kick came in, ball cleared to the edge of the box, and Alfie Dorrington, with his first goal for Aberdeen, absolutely slammed it home with the outside of his right foot. And I have to say, at that stage it was deserved, because even though they went behind, they were still forceful in their play and what they were trying to do, and they were really dynamic. I mentioned it during the game, the cohesion between Keskinen and Oakles and Clarkson and Nisbet and Guy. The front players of Aberdeen for at times have been criticised this season, but this afternoon they're all in sync. They're all working really hard, interchange, and Motherwell at times are struggling to hang on to them. Guy himself almost had a goal. It was a looping cross on the left-hand side from Oakles. He had a slight glance of the header, and Balcom managed to scramble it past the post, but they eventually did take the lead 2-1. I have to say it was a deserved goal as well. Leighton Clarkson with the finish. Short corner kick. Palaversa rolled it into Oakles, who came from the near post area. Back to Palaversa. He fed Clarkson on the edge of the box, steadied himself, and then just bent it in to the far corner past Ellery Balcom. For Aberdeen, it's been high energy. For Motherwell, they're going to have to be better. They'll be delighted they've gone in at half-time just a goal behind. Aberdeen will know the next goal is crucial for them to try and take Motherwell out of the equation. If Motherwell get it, we have game on. Half-time here at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1.
Stephen, just before you go, it's important we give the fans a voice on this programme. Gary Flossie, Aberdeen fan. Ask your pundit, Stephen, about the ref at the Dons game. According to Gary, he has been shocking.
I'm not too sure what team he's calling it for. I have to say, he's given Motherwell a lot of free kicks, and the Aberdeen punters are not happy at all. They're going for him at every occasion. I think Aberdeen have actually had more players booked than Motherwell, even though it seems to be the referee's been poor for Aberdeen. But anyway, yeah, he's been inconsistent, Kenny.
Good way of putting it, very diplomatic there from Stephen Craigan at Pittodrie. Next up, Easter Road, Hibs at home to St Johnstone. The half-time report comes from Stephen McGinn.
Yeah, Hibs well in control, 2-0 up at half-time here. The first 15 minutes of the game went exactly how Simo Valakari would have wanted it to go. Really stop-start, no tempo in the game. St Johnstone putting their foot in the ball. But the problem with that, setting it up, a few weeks ago it worked in a win at St Mirren, but you have to be so defensively secure and you have to be really good on the ball. Don't give the ball away in your own half. Hibs have got players to punish them. After about 16 minutes, Barry Douglas caught in the ball, sent Martin Boyle through, a good save from Andrew Fisher, but it sparked Hibs into life for a couple of minutes. It led to almost a stramash in the box. Martin Boyle was looking for a penalty, comes out to Jordan Abita, who rolls it to Junior Hoylett in the box. In that situation, Sam Curtis just has to make sure that it goes to the line. You let Junior Hoylett in on his right foot in the box, and he's got the quality to stick it in the top corner, and it's exactly what he did to put Hibs 1-0 up. From then, St Johnstone went back to just trying to keep possession, almost wait until the second half to really have a go, but they get caught in the ball. Sprangler, it was from a goal kick. Barry Douglas rolled it into him. He was just too slow, robbed of the ball. An ideal for Martin Boyle in a situation, running at Barry Douglas into the box. He's shifted it onto his right foot. Barry Douglas has opened his leg up to block the shot, and Martin Boyle's used it to hit it through his legs and into the goal to make it 2-0. Really frustrating from a St Johnstone point of view in terms of Hibs haven't been battering the door down. Both preventable goals. Duke McKenzie out warming up here. You'd expect to see at least one change here for St Johnstone to have some sort of go in the second half, but as things stand, 2-0 Hibs.
Thank you to Steve McGinn. A few technical issues in Paisley, so won't hear from Derek Ferguson until the second half. Half-time, St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0. Kellen Boyd Munns with opening goal, Leanne, on 6 minutes. The keeper had to do better. Adowo, you weren't sure. It should have been a penalty. It was given. He tucked that away very coolly on 9 minutes. It was a dreadful start for Kelly.
Yeah, really poor start. The worst possible start really you can get off to. I think listening to Derek McInnes in his pre-game interview and how he was building up to the game and asking about away form and things that haven't gone quite their way this season. Well, that just sums it up, that type of starting a game. Really naive, really poor from Robbie McCrory initially in terms of the first goal, and then the penalty so quickly after it. I think within a matter of minutes, 2-3 minutes perhaps, Derek will probably keep us right in the second half. But no, a big second half performance. I think Kilmarnock, they've in flashes had a couple of moments that they could have got themselves back in the game, but haven't carried enough of a threat. And I think St Mirren are one of these sides that have got loads of experience about them as well, that when they get their noses in front, certainly at home, they can control the controllables, and I think it would be a difficult afternoon for Kilmarnock to get themselves back in it at all.
Just looking at that race for top 6. So right now the live table, Hearts, they're in it, 39 points. St Mirren 38, Motherwell 38, Ross County, they play tomorrow, 35 points. It's so tight. As for Kilmarnock, 32 points as things stand. Dundee 31, they of course play tonight. St Johnstone isolated now at the bottom of the table on 26 points. We're covering 2 games in the Championship this afternoon. Let's get to Somerset Park. Ayr United at home to Dunfermline and get the half-time report from Kennedy Nidsan.
Ayr United 1, Dunfermline Athletic 0 in monsoon conditions here at Somerset. I'm going to give both sets of players a pass for the first half hour, in which it was nigh on impossible to play any football. Dunfermline, though, under Neil Lennon, looked the more composed in that spell. They forced a few corners. They couldn't create anything, though, in the way of clear-cut chances. They were then made to pay when Ayr sorted themselves out, started to play a bit and took the lead just before half-time when Conor McLennan cracked a fizzer of a shot from the edge of the area beyond Oluwayemi Jeremy in the Pars goal. It should have been Ayre's second, actually, because Curtis Main was free in the 6-yard box minutes earlier, but he volleyed straight at the keeper. Sad scenes earlier as Dunfermline's Connor Young, restored to the starting lineup by new manager Lennon, had to be stretchered off after 20 minutes. Victor Wanyama, of course, is on the Pars bench. May we see his return to Scottish football action after the break if Dunfermline want to muscle their way back into this one. Half-time, Ayr 1, Dunfermline 0.
Right, thanks to Kerry and let's get to Campbell Morton home to Partick Thistle and hear from Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed, Kenny. We're actually underway in the second half here, and Nathan Shaw's already had a shot after 46 minutes, which Budinakis did save, but it was probably the best shot of the game so far. As for the first half, Logan Chalmers had a shot from about 25 yards, about 5 minutes into the game, which went just wide. O'Reilly had a header, which just went wide. Big centre back for Partick Thistle. Cameron Blues had two really good chances, about 7-8 yards out. The first one he didn't catch at all, and the second one was a really good block. The most entertaining thing, all the Partick Thistle fans at half-time, or a big collection of them, ran for cover on the stand across from me. There's a little section at the end which is empty, and they tried to get under, which I thought was all in good jest to start with, but big kind of police presence and stewards all around trying to usher them back in, and I thought for a second it was going to get ugly. It didn't though, and they're all back there now, so a little bit sunny on the second half, Kenny, so hopefully we get some more action, but it's 0-0.
Thanks to Rory there. So Ayr United 1, Dunfermline 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 0. In League 1, Alloa 1, Dumbarton 0, Annan Athletic 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Arbroath the Leaders 1, Cove Rangers 0, Queen of the South 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Stenlismuir 0, Montrose 3, and in League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Elgin City 0, East Fife 0, Spartans 2, Forfar 0, Peterhead 0. Peterhead have been down to 10 men since the very early stages. Stirling Albion 1, Edinburgh City 0, Stranraer 0, Clyde 0.
Catch Scotland in the Women's Nations League.
And it breaks for Lawton, who scores!
Scotland versus Germany lives here on Friday night.
Absolutely sensational finish.
A stunning moment for Scotland at Hampden.
Watch on iPlayer, listen on digital radio, or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland, a choice of listening once again. Stick with us on BBC Sounds 92 to 95 FM for open all nights. For full commentary of Celtic against Hearts, tune to Radio Scotland Extra, Digital and 810 medium wave, and both options are available online, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
You're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. The half-time scores in the Scottish top flight: Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1, Celtic 3, Hearts 0, Hibs 2, St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0. Full commentary to come from Dens Park, Dundee against Rangers. That one kicks off at 5:30. Alan Preston, it looks like Neil Critchley is ringing the changes here at Celtic Park.
Yeah, Newenoff's on and Wilson's off. At the moment, that's the only one I can see so far. He's obviously going a bit of a flea in the rear, and they're out waiting on Celtic coming. Damage limitation, as I keep saying. I think Neil Critchley will probably sign off now for 3-0, but this Brendan Rodgers Celtic team today are hungry for more goals. It's not going to be great for Hearts fans listening in the second half, but the result at Aberdeen keeps them in the top 6 just.
Alan, you were talking before the game about Neil Critchley's failure to pull off that big statement win against one of the big clubs. But what do you put that down to?
Not been good enough on the day in certain games. They've been well beaten here today, and the games against Aberdeen have drawn. Hibs have been a better side, and they've played them as well. Rangers the same. So, but he's still got time on his hands. He's obviously got a semi-final coming up against Aberdeen. And it is an if, they can get in the top 6, they'll play Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen and Hibs again. So, but he's got to get that off his back. He has to win big games. It's as simple as that. Because if you don't, you're not going to be where you want to be as a Hearts fan and as you know, as a Hearts player and certainly as a Hearts manager. You're not going to be competing at the top end of the table.
Alan, speaking of the Hearts fans, am I right in saying have they sold out their allocation semi-final?
And yeah, 20,000 gone. I think they're asking for more as well.
Brilliant.
So brilliant from them.
Yeah, good stuff. Stirling Albion won, Edinburgh City won. James Stokes with equaliser for City there on 47 minutes. Let's get to Pittodrie. Aberdeen with the advantage at home to Motherwell, and good value for that, Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, exactly, Kenny. But suppose the message from Jimmy Tulane will be that you have to go and back it up. And Michael said today could be a defining day with regards how their season is viewed. And I have to say, that seems to be the message that's been drilled home to the players, because they've been really sharp, they've been really crisp. There's been an energy about the top end of the pitch, and so often this season we've kind of lamented that depth that Aberdeen have had up top. They've always looked to have potential in that area, but it's not always came together. Today, everything they've tried came off. They're working with each other, even without the ball. They're winning the ball high up, and they're causing Motherwell all sorts of problems. But with there only being a goal in it, Motherwell's trying to get a chance.
Yeah, chance somewhere.
Gets it Parkhead. Brilliant play again. Lucky pace for Hearts. Great ball across from Jota. Can't get in at the back post. Could have been 4-0.
Brilliant ball, wasn't it?
Lovely ball. I don't know why there's nobody there at the back area. It's everything that Celtic have been able to do this afternoon. Same type of delivery, threatening down the sides, looking for that opposite side support. Really good play from Jota.
Stephen, is there anything you'd like to see Michael Wimmer change in the second half there at Pittodrie?
Well, it's just Aberdeen's got in. Guy down the right hand side, because over the other side, Diokos comes to Clarkson, edge of the box, blocked by Lennon Miller. Is Palaversa coming up? Block again by Lennon Miller. Well, I've no idea, but he's going to have to change something. Maybe personnel, Kenny, because they're not keeping the ball well enough, and the shape's been exploited a little bit today. I remember when Motherwell went to Ibrox, they dominated that midfield area against Rangers 3. Motherwell's 4, but this afternoon they've been overrun, they've been outplayed, everything about it. So whether he's got a plan B up his sleeve, whether he's got a change of shape up his sleeve, I don't know, but he's going to have to change something, because if Aberdeen get the next goal, it's a long way back.
Any changes for Simo Valakari at Easter Road there, Stephen McGinn? You were talking about the options he's got on the bench.
Yeah, 3 subs for St Johnstone. Taylor Stephen, Duke McKenna and Kim Pioka on for Mackenzie Kirk, Sam Curtis and Dre Wright. So yeah, I didn't think he would hang about. They couldn't, they had no attacking impetus, they couldn't get out their half. So yeah, he's gone for it.
Right, you're back with us, Derek Ferguson there in Paisley with a few technical issues. What a first half for the home side. St Mirren against Kilmarnock. It's a big second 45 for Derek McInnes.
Horrific.
It certainly is, Kenny, and well deserved. St Mirren were brilliant in the first half. Believe it or not, the wind has died down a little bit, Killy, with the wind at their back, but it just seems a little bit more calmness. We've got a little problem at the moment. One of the St Mirren players is down, but yeah, Derek McInnes will be looking for a whole lot better in the second half. He has made one change, Lyons has come off, David Watson is on, so we'll see if that makes a difference certainly in this second half. But Kilmarnock look pretty comfortable, St Mirren looking pretty comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, an electric start for them. Let's get into the championship. We're covering 2 games for you this afternoon, the big one, no doubt at all about that. So much talk about the return of Neil Lennon. He's got Victor Wanyama on the bench. Kerradine Idsan is there for us. You think you'll turn to him in the second period, Kerradine?
He may have to, Kenny, because they're under sustained pressure at the moment. Are Dunfermline Athletic. They'll get a wee break there, though, and Neil Lennon's it's gone off his head. He wanted the referee to play on there. He's going to have to settle for a free kick. It's 1-0 to Ayr United, and Neil Lennon will be pretty happy with the way his side coped best with the difficult conditions in the first half, but there's no doubt Ayr United have created the better chances. Curtis Main missed a bit of a sitter, then they took the lead through Conor McLennan just before half-time. We've only played 3 minutes of the second half. I think we're probably quite a bit behind the rest of the games because of the injury to Connor Young for Dunfermline, who had to be stretchered off. So yeah, there's work to do for Neil Lennon in that Dunfermline dugout. He's not turned to Victor Wanyama though yet.
Rory Law, you're looking to see a whole lot more quality in the second period down there at Capello?
Yeah, I would like to think so. It started in the same vein, I have to say, as the first half did. Not a lot of quality on show. A bit of a flashpoint though. I thought Logan Chalmers was pretty lucky to escape without at least a booking there. He came together with Zach Delaney. Brian Graham held the ball up really well. He flicked one over the top. Delaney just blocked Chalmers' run, which frustrated Chalmers. It looked like he kicked out, or it was more of a knee than a kick, to be honest. And the referee...
How has he missed? Oh, it's a brilliant ball from Boyd Muntz. He plays it at the back post. It's Taylor. He's only 3-4 yards out. Comes off the bar. How's he missed? Well, he's a big centre back. Sometimes they do miss from that range. I shouldn't say that. A few of my ex centre backs might give me a wee clout round the ear for that, but no, I should put it at the back of the net, Kenny. It's only 3-4 yards out. It's a little kind of half volley and then just pops up off the bar. The ball's cleared. But what a chance for St Mirren, you know, to put this game to bed. So St Mirren, sorry, Cully still with a lifeline as St Mirren lead 2-0.
Yeah, that was a dreadful miss, fair to say. East Fife have pulled one back against Spartans. Alan Troughton in 50 minutes to still trail by 2-1 there.
Alex Kubiak's just had one as well, a terrible miss, and that's the moments I'm saying, yeah, you can look at the weather, you can look at the pitch, but that particular moment, he raced through one-on-one, he's opened up his foot, and I mean, it's a good 5-10 yards wide. He should at the very least, he should be scoring, but he should at the very least be hitting the target, and that's the moments, Kenny, where, you know, you can't really legislate for as a manager. He's simply got to do better. It's nothing to do with the surrounding conditions. Partick Thistle even should be 1-0 up, but it's still 0-0.
Yeah, and there's a lot to play for in that game, and Wraith Rovers are piling on the pressure. They're ahead away at Hamilton Accies. Is that a wee chance?
Yeah, it's an Aberdeen. It was an in-swinging corner from Andy Halliday with his left foot, and Ross Doohan came into the middle of the 6-yard box, went to punch it, missed it completely. No Motherwell player was proactive, expecting to do that, and the ball, I think he must have got a slight touch on it. It's gone out for a throw-in on the far side. So just a few nervous moments from Aberdeen. It's exactly what I said. They were so good in the first half, but they're only leading by a single goal.
Stephen Craigan, one of the biggest wow signings you've seen in Scottish football. Any standout?
Claudio Caniggia. And the reason I say it is because I watched him at the 1990 World Cup, and it was against Cameroon first the opening game. Remember, he ran through and about 6 Cameroon players tried to bring him down, and the goalkeeper or one of the centre halves eventually almost killed him. And I remember thinking, wow, he looks like a proper player. So to see him then in Glasgow and then almost to play against him, Tom Sparrow should be 2-2. Oh. Callum Slattery outside of his right foot, a wonderful pass up the inside shoulder of Graham Shinnie. Sparrow goes through, fizzes it, goes for the bottom left hand corner and just puts it wide.
Yeah, that was a great chance. He
played against... update for you, Kenny. Yeah, he's just had a wee chat with Neil Lennon down on the touchline below. He's away for a wee warm-up in front of the Dunfermline fans who are chanting his name in the way that the Celtic fans used to 12 years ago. It looks like it might not be too long before we see his debut in a Dunfermline Athletic jersey.
Yeah, can't wait to see how he does. So he played against them. Caniggia, correct, yeah?
Yeah, it was
he tried to replicate the kamikaze tackle.
Yeah, on more than one occasion. It was the Scottish Cup semi-final 2002, I think, with Partick Thistle. We played Rangers. Christian Nerlinger's only 2 goals I think he scored for Rangers was in that game. And he beat us 3-0 at Hampden. So to play against him, I haven't watched him. Yeah, he was a top-class orchestrator.
Alan, biggest wow signing?
When I was at Livingston, we signed Guillermo Amor, who played for Barcelona under Johan Cruyff and was voted in the Barcelona all-time greatest 11. Fantastic player he was, just kept the ball, didn't give it away. Unlike these Hearts players, he just keeps it, passes it to Sunday in his own team.
Nicely knitted together there by Alan Preston. For you two in the studio, anyone that stands out?
Well, coming to Scottish football, or don't know, there's been a few. Roy Keane was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a great story.
Certainly grown up and watching that Man United team, the 90s, and obviously arriving in Scottish football. I thought the De Boer brothers as well, when they arrived at Rangers, was probably pretty box office back then as well. Again, Gaza's
yeah,
an obvious one, yeah.
That's a good shout.
There was a few up on the BBC website, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Gaza, just, you know, growing up, and you're talking about a guy who obviously, I know there was question marks with his injuries and stuff like that, but he was still at the peak of his powers. You know, and Walter Smith pulling off, you know, getting him to Scottish football and then watching him play. I mean, he was top draw. I mean, genuinely, you're talking about world-class players.
Yeah, it's a good show.
And I know the likes of obviously Henrik Larsson grew into that, but as a signing, Gaza was already established.
Yeah, Alan McCoy tells so many great stories. Graham Souness, yeah.
Got to be in it. I know he came as manager, but he was player manager. You know, so he was unbelievable.
He raised standards, Derek, didn't he?
You're talking genuine world class. He was that. Everything. He could do everything you wanted from a midfielder. Some of the goals he scored as well. Just look at, used to watch him with Liverpool. Some of the strikes, but controlling that midfield area. Nobody better, without a shadow of doubt.
I love hearing you tell stories of him in some of these games in training, Derek. He was a bit ferocious, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, and he liked to win, and he liked to play in an English, in England v Scotland. He played with England, which upped us quite a little bit. So, and when we crossed that white line, everything went. So we could give the manager a wee bit every now and again, so, and we certainly did.
You'd have to be brave to do that. I think East Fife have pulled it back. I can imagine 2-2 at home to Spartans. Michael McKenna with the equaliser there. Queen of the South ahead against Inverness. Cali Thistle, Jordan Allen on 57 minutes, 2-1 there. So let's go back around the grounds. And remind you, we're on the telly today, BBC Scotland, from 4:30 through until 5:20. Stay with us on the radio right through until around about 7:30 tonight. Dundee at home to Rangers. That one kicks off at 5:30. So let's get to Celtic Park.
Save.
Oh yeah,
brilliant
yes,
save.
Derek.
That's a brilliant save from McCrory. Ayunga just he's bursting away down the right hand side into the box. I think he's looking for Adumu, who's coming in centrally into the box, but he goes for it himself. There's a little deflection. I tell you what, it's a great save from McCrory. Just sets that right hand up, and he had to quickly to save it. But again, it's St Mirren is just pushing, you know, to get that third goal to put the game to bed.
Morton. I mean, Morton have got a huge chance against Ali Crawford, who you would back right in the penalty spot. The ball's cut back from Nathan Shaw, and he skies it over the bar.
They have put it to bed. It is the third goal, and I'm sure is that Boyd Munns? I think it's Boyd Munns. I'll just check.
You're right, Derek.
It certainly is. They deserve it. They've been brilliant in the first half in trying conditions. The wind has calmed down a bit, and they've adapted. And they should be 4-0 up, because the Taylor miss was incredible. But Boyd Munns just make sure he hits the target, gets the ball on target into the back of the net. So what a win this will be for St Mirren.
Yeah, you were saying earlier, Leanne, as well, in terms of their chances of making the top six again. Their next two games, they are away to Dundee and they finish off before the split at home to Ross County. They'll fancy this now.
Yeah, they will, and a really strong performance this afternoon. What I would need to say though for Kilmarnock is that it's a number of games now I've watched them that they're conceding from corners.
Brilliantly worked free corner there from Hibbs. Good save from Fisher. I don't think Kikarevich caught it enough, but it was a brilliant invention in the corner. Nearly 3-0.
That was a nice move, wasn't it?
Yeah. Training ground routine.
Oh, wait a minute, Michael, what?
I'm not sure he's able. Do you think he was meant to play that type of pass? Like, I'm not sure.
No.
This ball here.
Aye.
Yeah. Does he play
left
outside his boot?
It looks like a wee left foot round the corner.
Yes, it was right.
Oh no,
he does. It means it really. That's
for a possible offside.
Really good.
All right, okay. That's got to be somebody.
Okay now. Yeah,
I didn't say it could only be someone in front of the keeper because he was outside.
All I was going to say in that goal, Kilmarnock, the corner. 2 free bodies in the edge of the box. Boyd Munns just walks onto it unmarked. I think defensively they're all over the place, Kelly, when you watch them, and they've been punished in recent weeks as well from corners, not switched on to the second phase at all. And it's no often do you see corners converted in the first instance. It usually is the second phase, it's the damage, and they're so naive, especially at 2-0 down. What a poor goal to go and lose, but credit to Boyd Munns certainly for picking up a good area and dispatching really well.
I just want to say that Junior Hoyle, it was a lovely. I was looking at it and thinking he'd played it with his instep. Now if he's playing with his instep, he wouldn't have been able to get that angle on it unless he'd miss-hit it, but he doesn't. He just flicks it with outside his boot. It's a lovely bit of play.
Somebody's got to help Forrester here. Jota is running at him time and time again.
Yeah, I think was you that highlighted that at the start of the game, Alan? Yeah.
Listen, he's a young man.
Chance for Ayr United. 2-0 Ayr United.
Yes,
Curtis Main. Now has he given the goal or has he chalked it off? Oh no, he's given a free kick. Well, Curtis Main's absolutely furious. He knocked the ball in. Nice play from Watchett to set him up, but the referee has disallowed the goal, giving a free kick to Dunfermline. As you were, 1-0 still.
Thank you to Keradine Idzan there. Yeah, you're saying, Alan, your concerns.
Yeah, he's been booked as well, Forrester, and the referee's going to give a bounce ball here just outside the box. Hearts thought they were getting a free kick, but they're not. He's given a bounce ball. Penrice had a head knock and he stopped the game, so rightfully he's going to bounce the ball, give it back to Celtic. Yeah, I've got concerns in Hearts right back area for years, Kenny. It's not just this season.
Yeah.
Taylor, I don't think we'll see again in a Hearts jersey. He got injured playing for his national team. Don't think we'll see him again. I think he's only on loan. He'll go back. And that has to be one of a few.
Finish! Oh, once again, Motherwell down that right-hand side. Motherwell have had much more ownership of the game in the second half. Andy Halliday's had more touches, Lennon Military had more touches, which means Callum Slattery gets more touches, as does Harry Payton. Sparrow down the right hand side, fizzes it across goal. Luke Armstrong can't stretch out his leg enough, and the ball fizzes past, still 2-1 to the home side.
A great ball, wasn't it?
I know, and he waits to go with his left. I actually think if he goes with his right, he might get better contact on it. I think the speed of the ball as it comes off the grass takes it away from him.
That's a couple of times now, as much as I was praising Graham Shin in the first half for playing at left back and getting it forward, when he's getting forward, no one's filling that gap that he's leaving in behind him. And Motherwell, that's now twice in the last 5 or 6 minutes, have tried to exploit that space that he's left, and they should probably be level.
Right, let's get to the game at Easter Road. Actually, just is a player coming off there injured, Stephen?
Yeah, Barry Douglas has come off for Graham Carey. I think there might be a change of formation because it's just been, although St Johnstone, they bring on 2 wingers at wing backs, they bring Kim Pioka, they've just come out and did the same thing. They either keep the ball well in their own half or they don't keep the ball well in their own half and Hibs have a chance. It's been the pattern of the game for the hour, so you have to, I mean, howling conditions, the bottom of the league, they're 2-0 down at half time. There has to be some sort of change in tempo, change in tactic.
Stephen, what we've got, your biggest wow signing for you in Scottish football?
Roy Keane was the one that first came to my head, that Leanne mentioned. The one I was most excited about as a young player at St Mirren, when Gus McPherson told us at training that Ian Hart was coming up to sign, the old Irish left back. And see, when you're driving to Scotland, you stop in at Carlisle maybe for a pit stop, toilet, coffee, whatever. He stopped in at Carlisle to sign with Carlisle, so it was pretty disappointing.
That's right, that's right, I remember that. Yeah, that's right. That was just pulled at the last minute there. Yeah, that was a great signing. Well, he was a great player.
When he realised how long the drive is, and he thought, nah, I'll just stop here, recharge the batteries.
Right, let's continue around. Chance.
Well, it was a ball for Shankland. Carter Vickers gets back. He's not got really enough on it. Kabangu's after him, but Kabangu sort of pulls out. Sinisalo gets there first and manages to clear the danger.
We spoke, Alan, before the game about Sinisalo getting his chance today, but he's not really anything to do, has he?
Nothing, but he looks comfortable with the ball at his feet. Had a great save early on in the game from Nielsen at 0-0 from a corner, and that's what he's done. But he's looked fine, he's looked confident. When the ball's played back to him, he knows where he wants to pass it, although he's got a lot of options. No, he's done well.
Yeah, Maida, just the man in shot there. He has been outstanding for Celtic this afternoon. He has bagged himself a double. Let's get back to Derek Ferguson in Paisley. Hugely disappointing for the away side, but we must give so much praise once again, Derek, to Stephen Robinson. You touched earlier on about how he sets his sides up and how competitive, how, you know, 2 back-to-back top 6 finishes. They got European football. We're talking about the 2 fixtures they've got now before the split.
He's coming on, Kenny.
They've got. Is he there? Is he there?
Victor Wanyama just about to come on for Dunfermline.
Right. So this is shouting
it's
there.
More important that Fergie's heard than Victor Wanyama.
Listen, the thing about Derek's
there's
line
another
there
chance, so Hannah hit it. And he has! 4-0!
Oh, wow.
Magnificent! Again, Leanne, they're not picking up the edge of the box. You're spot on.
Dearie me. McCrory again.
Well,
I don't like to come for goal.
Do you know, looking at the reaction, you know, there you're talking about a keeper should react better getting down, but it's that reaction again to the ball. St Mirren have been quicker in every aspect of the game, not just in terms of the physicality, but thinking, you know, been really switched on, you know, and that, again, he's got to be shut down, but he's allowed to get a shot off, and again, it's not the most powerful of strikes. And you wonder, because I thought the one with Boyd
similar to the one in the first half.
At the start of the game.
Who's defending that? Who was that didn't just get...
I'm not sure who it is, Kenny, down in that left-hand corner. Poor. Allowing him back inside the box.
But is anybody else worried about the lack of goalkeepers we've got for the national team? Honestly.
It's a good point, isn't it? I mean,
Craig can't go on forever. He's 42. You know, and what do you have? Because I think in the summer, Callum McGregor's coming off, Bernardo's coming on for Celtic.
It's a good point, Alan, yeah.
I just think I think in the summer, the games against Iceland and Liechtenstein, they're going to have to try and find someone. I don't think they should be asking Craig Gordon at his age to go playing 2 friendlies. They know what Craig Gordon can do. But who do you turn to? Who do you pick?
Is there one, even now, that's worth a chance? It's hard to think of somebody you could put forward for.
Just Angus Gunn. There's no other option.
Gunn's not playing.
No, but
I think he's just got back.
There's been plenty of players that don't, haven't played but play for the national side.
But Michael, you know as well as I
Just
do.
over 25 minutes to play here. The number 44 is on. Victor Wanyama. Can he get an equaliser for Dunfermline? Big round of applause from the Cards fans away at my left.
That'll be some story.
Goalkeepers have to play. Brendan talked about it at the start of the game about Sinicillo.
I don't disagree with that, but you're talking about a scenario of like who's the goalkeeper? Angus Gunn. I mean, that's for me. I don't think it's a debate. Craig Gordon obviously is the number one, but if you're looking to do something different, Angus Gunn. That's my view.
Kenny, Aberdeen fans again off their seats because Papagayi went for a challenge with Kofi Barner. I've looked at it back. Motherwell trying to say, the Motherwell players trying to say he's thrown an elbow, but he has been booked in the first half, so you have to be really careful. It's not a free kick. He just puts his hand on the shoulder of Barner. He holds his face trying to draw the attention of the referee, so it's not a second yellow card. It shouldn't be a red card. However, the Motherwell players are making sure the referee knows it was Papagayi and he's been booked. So gamesmanship going on, so he's got to be careful.
Just up you in some goals. Stirling Albion 2, Edinburgh City 1. Ryan Shanley on 64 minutes. Wraith Rovers 2-0 up now away at Hamilton Accies. Callum Fordyce on 65 minutes. And just confirmation of that fourth goal for St Mirren. St Mirren 4, Kilmarnock 0. Mark O'Hara on 65 minutes with that goal.
That's horrific for Kelly.
Isn't it?
Horrific, because I tell you, this game later on between Dundee and Rangers is going to be very interesting, because Dundee's performance against United before the international break was top class. They've got a lot of players back fit. If they're able to put in a performance and get something this afternoon, or even just avoid a humbling defeat, Dundee are... I'd fancy them. When I looked at them in that Dundee derby, with all their players fit, they're a good balanced team. They've got plenty about them. They've got a goal threat. They've got a defensive rock back in Shaughnessy as well. If they've got everybody fit, I'd fancy Dundee to be able to make a real fist of getting up the table and away from trouble. Whereas you look at Kelly,
Michael, Derek McInnes spoke about the away form not. The results haven't been as good as he'd like them to be, but he felt performances were closer. Well, I think that today's a good example of. I watched Kilmarnock play St Mirren at Rugby Park, and Kilmarnock were really good. Played St Mirren off the pitch. St Mirren had an off day. You reverse the fixture, same set of players away from home, and they get absolutely trounced. So
boys again! 5!
Wow.
Hawaii 5-0! Unbelievable! That's incredible! Again, I think McCrory has got
How's it go
do
in the back
better.
of the net? How's it get in?
Oh, well, Michael, the angle I've got, I'm thinking, go on, strike it. And he does, but I'm thinking, strike it to another corner, but
it looks like it goes into the near post, Derek, does it?
Yeah.
It's a lucky 5 playing. Told you.
Why 5-0? I mean, it's... Right, here we go. Here's the replay. Oh, there's some power in that.
He's giving the ball. Should be 2 here. Oh, unbelievable. Terrible mistake in the back by Dunfermline Athletic. Jamie Murphy's given the ball about 10 yards out. Chips the keeper. Point should be secure here. Ayr 2, Dunfermline Athletic 0.
Right, at last the deadlock broken. Capello, Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed, and it's Partick Thistle who have got the goal. It's a ball into the box, and I have to say there's not been a lot in this for the full game, but it's Daniel O'Reilly. He's got on the end of a few free kicks. It was floated in, good ball into the box for once, and he's there. The keeper comes out into no man's land, back of the net. Greenock Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1.
Right, we're about to join TV in the next minute, so just to round up some of the goals that have gone in there. Stennismuir back in at home to Montrose. Blair Alston with that goal in 66 minutes, but they're still 3-1 behind. Queen of the South are 3-1 ahead at home to Inverness. Carly Thistle, Adam Brooks with that goal on 68 minutes. And Elgin City have gone ahead away at Bonnyrigg Rose, 1-0 up there. Dajon Golding with that goal on 72 minutes. You know, it's going to be really interesting to hear from Derek McInnes post-match today. His side are taking an absolute doing in Paisley this afternoon. St Mirren have been electric. They could very well seal their third top 6 finish in a row. Very, very interesting. Just confirmation. Partick Thistle's opening goal there, Dan O'Reilly, 74 minutes, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1. That could be a huge goal for Thistle as they look to seal their place, that final place in the playoff spots. Wraith Rovers also in the mix. They are winning away from home this afternoon. Welcome to viewers who have joined us on BBC Scotland. It's another busy and dramatic day in Scottish football. Leanne Crichton and Michael Stewart are alongside me in the studio. We've got all the games coming in here. Let's take a trip around the grounds. First up, the East End of Glasgow, Celtic up against Hearts, and get the latest from Alan Preston.
Where it's Celtic 3, Hearts 0. Ken, it's been easy. Hearts started the game, first 15 minutes had the best chance. Really good corner, whipped in. And it was Nielsen with the effort from 5 yards, but Sinicello in the goals replacing the injured Schmeichel was magnificent with the save. But from then on, it's been all Celtic. McGregor eventually freed himself in the middle of the park. Lovely pass through to Maeda. He ran through and beat Craig Gordon easily. It was 2-0 in 24 minutes. Kuhn to Maeda. His header hit the inside of the post and it come back to Jota, who was running in and just knocked it into the back of the net. It was then 3-0 in 41 minutes again. Hearts lacky pace at the back, ball played down the touchline. Kuhn square pass to Maeda for 3-0. It could be more. Damage limitation for Hearts. The score at the moment was 70 minutes on the clock. Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Thanks to Alan Preston. Next up at Tawdry, Aberdeen at home to Motherwell. Let's get the latest from Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, it's a home side that lead by 2-1. All 3 goals arrived in the first half. It was Callum Slattery with a powerful header after 5 minutes. Harry Payton done really well down the left-hand side. He put the ball into the back of the net for his 3rd goal in 2 games. Aberdeen were level after 13 minutes. Alfie Dorrington with his first goal for Aberdeen capitalised on the second phase of a corner kick and lashed it home from the edge of the box with his right foot. They then went ahead just before half-time. Leighton Clarkson, after a really well-worked corner kick, edge of the box, steadied himself, rifled into the back of the net, and with 20 minutes to go, the game's finally poised, but it's Aberdeen that lead by 2-1.
Thanks to Stephen Craigan. Next stop, Edinburgh. Let's get to Easter Road. Steve McGinn is there for us watching Hibs against St Johnstone.
It's 2-0 to Hibs here. First goal was just magic from Junior Hoylett. Jordan Abita rolls it to him inside the box, and you know exactly what he's wanting to do. He's wanted to get onto that right foot. Watched him do it for years. Lovely curling finish past Fisher into the top corner. The second goal, St Johnstone trying to play out from the back, rolled it to Barry Douglas, who rolls it to Sprangler, who's caught in the ball. And once Martin Boyle has Barry Douglas into the box, he's backtracking. Martin Boyle shifted it onto his right foot. Barry Douglas has put his foot out to block it, and he just used that leg to play it through his legs, and Fisher couldn't do anything. It's about as routine a game so far for David Gray as he could ever hope to, with 8 games to go. They haven't really got out of first or second gear. Hibs looking like at any time they can up it and go and score another goal. As things stand, 2-0 Hibs.
Yeah, very comfortable for them. An absolute cruise in Paisley in difficult weather conditions. It's not held the home side back. Derek Ferguson, St Mirren against Kilmarnock. Are you with us, Derek? With a few problems with the line there, but it is 5-0 to St Mirren in that game. Absolutely incredible. They got off to an absolute flyer in that match there. 2 up inside the first few minutes. Kylan Boyd Munce with the opener in 6 minutes. Udu with a penalty, a hotly contested penalty on 9 minutes, and they're since gone on to cruise. Really difficult now for Derek McInnes's players. Are looking now behind them in terms of that relegation playoff spot at the bottom of the table. They're taking an absolute pounding there defendingly, and Crichton has been dreadful from his side today.
Really poor, yeah, absolutely. I think just all over the pitch, really poor, miles off it. I mean, to start the game in the manner in which they did, to go 2 goals behind so quickly, really does put you in the back foot, especially away from home, knowing that Kilmarnock's away form is not the best at times. They kind of huffed and puffed and looked to get back in the game, but then defensively, mainly from set pieces in the second half, has been so poor. Players just not getting close enough to the ball, not switching on, not following players, not being aggressive enough to go and try and empty your defensive third. Really found himself under so much pressure, but we probably don't do it enough. Credit to St Mirren, again, absolutely ruthless in front of goal, taking shots, testing the goalkeeper, putting Kilmarnock really on the back foot. A huge performance and result for Stephen Robinson's men this afternoon.
Yeah, next up for St Mirren, they're away to Dundee, and then they finish off at home to Ross County before the split. They'll fancy their chances of making it 3 top 6 finishes in a row. Let's drop into the Championship. We're covering 2 games there for you this afternoon. All the stories have been surrounding the game at Somerset Park. Ayr United against Dunfermline. Let's get the latest from Kerradine San.
Well, the big news here is that Victor Wanyama has made his debut for Dunfermline Athletic, a cameo role in the second half, but I don't think he's going to be able to help his team to all 3 points or even one, because Ayr United are comfortable in this game. They lead by 2-0. Conor McLennan fizzed in a shot just before the break, and Jamie Murphy has just chipped the keeper after a terrible mistake by Kyle Benedict. Has handed him the ball about 8 yards out, and he was never going to miss from there. Good stuff from Ayr United in the second half. They're well worth their 2-goal lead. Neil Lennon's return to Scottish football after a 4-year absence has been dampened not just by the weather but by a fine performance by Scott Brown's team. Is there a goal in this for Dunfermline, or can Ayr United finally kill off their resistance? The points are staying here at the moment as it stands 2-0 to Ayr United.
Thanks to Kerridon. And let's get to Capello. Morton at home to Partick Thistle and get the latest from Rory Loy.
Yeah, as it stands at the moment, it's Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1. Despite the really poor conditions and the lack of quality, there has been enough chances in the game to have seen more goals. Blues and Crawford really guilty of Morton for not taking them, and Ukubiak the main culprit for Partick Thistle. However, there was a goal about 10 minutes ago when a ball was swung into the box, and it was Daniel O'Reilly who rose the highest to head into an empty net after Ryan Mullen had committed to coming to try and get it. So as it stands at the moment, Partick Thistle extending their lead over Morton, and that fourth place looks all but secure if they were to pick up the 3 points today. So currently Green at Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1.
Thank you to Rory. Wraith Rovers also in the mix for that final playoff spot. They're cruising 3-0 up away at Hamilton Accies. Josh Mullen with the latest goal there on 75 minutes, and an equaliser for Annan Athletic at home to Kelty Hearts. One apiece there. Max Kilby with that goal. We heard from Alan Preston, Michael Stewart, that game at Celtic Park. We spoke before the match, and you were talking about your concerns around this Hearts side. Yeah, goal.
Yeah, it's goal for Aberdeen. Shaden Morris has come on the right hand side. He's been a real handful. He attracts players to him, and he just feeds the ball back to Alexander Jensen, who puts a delightful ball into the box, and Kevin Nisbet can do nothing else but just stand there, allow the ball to bounce off his head and put it low down to the right hand side of Ellery Balcom. That is probably going to be game, set and match. The second half has been much more competitive compared to the first half when Aberdeen were dominant, but it's the Dons that have got the third goal, and it's Kevin Nisbet. It's Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1.
It's good to see him finding some form. Of course, he got a recall to the Scotland squad. There's no doubt the quality's there with Kevin Nisbet.
No, absolutely, Kenny. I think goals is the big thing, clearly, for any striker, any attacking player. And Aberdeen, when they're at it and they offer Kevin Nisbet the opportunity to get in the box and go and attack it, he's a natural goal scorer. He picks up some brilliant areas. I think it's Clarkson initially with the switch of play out to the right hand side. Wee set back, the ball comes back in, really good delivery, but Nisbet's all over it. Really instinctive, strong header, on target. We've seen one in the early part of the Hearts Celtic game, for Wilson, just at the back area, a similar type header, and he misses the target. That's the difference when you look at a Kevin Nisbet in form. He's all about confidence, and I think actually coming back into the national team, regardless of how that result kind of panned out for Scotland in the double header itself, I think just to be back in the mix and to get that type of recognition could be massive for Kevin Nisbet. If he sees through this season and he manages to continue to hit the back of the net the way he's managed to do in the last handful of games, and then kick on again with a strong pre-season under his belt, you would like to think that he could go and certainly try and find the form that we've seen before he departed Scotland previously.
It's been such a strange season, hasn't it, Michael, for Aberdeen fans? You spoke before this game about the importance of getting a victory for the Dons this afternoon.
Yeah, and as Craigs was talking about, it's been a very good performance in the first half. Second half's been a lot more even, but the fact that they've been able to extend their lead in the second half, I think it's no bad thing in terms of the overall 90 minutes. When this finishes, the manager will look at it and go generally the performance pretty good. Managed to score 3 goals when they were on the back foot a little bit. They kept their heads about them, and they've scored another goal there. It's a wonderful cross from Jensen. Good striker play. Nisbet just drifts off the back of the defender, but I'd imagine Michael Vimmer would be very disappointed, because I think it's Kofi Balmer's in the middle of the goals. He's just got no idea of where the striker is. There's a gaping hole in behind him, and you could argue that his defensive teammates have not helped, but I think the centre half's got to have an awareness of where the striker is, and he's not. He's just ball watching. But very, very good for Aberdeen, and it certainly does. It helps for them to look ahead and feel positive now that obviously Hibs look like they're going to pick up 3 points here, and Aberdeen doing likewise have got themselves in what looks like a really interesting battle for third between the two of them now.
Dumbarton 2-1 up now away at Alloa Athletic. Craig McGuffey with the goal in 79 minutes. Annan Athletic 2, Kelty Hearts 1. They're come from behind. Luca Ross with that goal on 88 minutes. Let's get back to the game at Celtic Park. Alan Preston, we spoke before this one about the importance of Celtic.
There's a big switch here, there's a chance for either. They've rung the changes both sides. McGregor's gone off, as you would imagine, because he's been out injured. Kuhn's gone off, and the best player in the park, Maeda's gone off as well. On has come Ida, Yang, Bernardo as well as on. And for Hearts have rang the changes as well, Ken. But Celtic, the only good news is the result at Aberdeen. And I said today, if Hearts can come out today, still in the top 6, which it may be, it's in their own hands. 2 tough games, Dundee United, and then that will be an absolute cracker, you would imagine, away to Motherwell.
Alan, we had a chat about Daizen Maeda. He's nailed on for Player of the Year, surely. And we heard from Brendan Rodgers yesterday. He was talking about talks already underway to extend Maeda's deal. That could be the best bit of business the club do this year.
Well, without a doubt, and it's been terrific. You expect him to win Players of the Year, Player of the Year, the boat race, the Grand National. He'll win everything for me. He's been absolutely incredible. I've seen it early on in the season where they were, or that might have even been last season actually, where they were 6-0 up against St Johnstone, and he lost the ball. He had the ball going down into the St Johnstone box, he lost it, and he chased back in the 93rd minute to win the ball back, and you just think that's incredible. And that's not something you can teach someone. That's an inner ability to work hard. I have never seen a fitter player in Scottish football than Daizen Maeda, and he'll deserve everything that he gets.
And Michael, from a Hearts perspective, you were chatting earlier on about your concerns around the squad, and you said this for many, many years actually, the real lack of pace options that they've got.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's nothing new. Spoken about it endlessly. You know, Jamestown Analytics are involved now, and you know, if they come out of the summer window and they haven't rectified and looked at, you know, adjusting the squad in some of those key positions, then I've got question marks about, you know, who is it that's making the signings. Because I mean, I'll give you an example. Like for me, you know, and Khartoum's obviously one that's sort of made a few headlines recently because he scored some really, really nice goals. But for me, I'm not sure what they're identifying and how they see him fitting into the team. He's a nice technical player, but he's got no athleticism, he's got no pace. So how is it they view the team as looking in 6 months' time, and how do they view him in that team? Otherwise it's just you're bringing a body in for bringing a body's sake, and it's not rectifying the issues that the team have. They've got no athleticism and no presence in the middle of the park. They need more quality in there as well. They need a right back and they need pace. They're the issues, and by the way, every one of those have been issues for probably 2+ years, and it's not been rectified. It's not even a case of they've brought people in and they haven't quite worked out. They've just not actually, you know, dealt with the issue. They've not dealt with it.
And they've tried with Oda and Tagawa. They've clearly failed. That's a failed experiment that they've had as well.
Do you know what the most damning thing about that is? I would hazard a guess, and you know, without being overly critical, I would think that every Hearts supporter within
chance for Hibs, Bowie. Oh, good save, Fisher. Within
a game or two, you looked at those guys and you thought, no.
You could tell.
Exactly.
You just knew.
Straight away.
And it beggars belief, to be perfectly honest. So, right back, centre mid, and wide. Pace, genuine pace. They need that.
And they'll need strikers, Michael.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so a big summer ahead for Hearts, a big few weeks ahead for St Johnstone. Steve McGinn, another chance for the home side there at Easter Road. And I think what we've seen today, after some improved defensive performances from Simo Valakari's side, back to their bad old ways this afternoon.
Yeah, really disappointing goals to lose, but I just feel this game's just going to pass St Johnstone by. They're almost as if, OK, we'll deal with the next ones. Hibs away, it's a hard game, they're going well. They're running out of games. I'm pretty sure they go to Celtic Park in a couple of weeks as well. What if Dundee go and win later? It just feels as if they've just let this game drift. The weather's poor.
Penalty kick, Kenny.
Yeah, so is it for the home side again, or? Chance.
Oh, a red card for Victor Wanyama. Well, it's
right, Kennedy. Let's go to Somerset Park quickly. Kennedy, big moment there.
Victor Wanyama's cameo for Dunfermline Athletic has just been brought abruptly to an end. He's been shown a red card by referee Ian Snedden. It was for pulling back at Mark McKenzie, who looked like he was clean in on goal. Actually, the ref could maybe have played on because McKenzie got up and he was then clean on goal. However, Ayr United have a free kick and Victor Wanyama is trudging disconsolately back toward his manager Neil Lennon, who's giving him a round of applause. But he got sent off in his last half dozen games for Celtic 12 years ago. He's now been sent off on his Dunfermline debut after just a few minutes on the park.
Scottish football never ever fails to deliver. Let's get back then. A penalty. This would just be a consolation for the away side in Paisley. Derek Ferguson. We've had a few technical issues. We've got the pictures coming into the studio here, Leanne. I mean, this would just be, as I say, a consolation because there's very little. There was a full house there, big travelling support through there. They've got a very, very good record in Paisley, but that came to a crashing end this afternoon.
It has, yeah. Brilliant performance from St Mirren. A few questionable goals certainly conceded. No doubts about the penalty. In my mind, Michael's getting a wee look at it as well. I think it's going to be Bruce Anderson that steps up to take it. Nick Walsh is just having a word with the goalkeeper just now. I'm assuming just the final checks are taking place. We'll be.
How long does it need to take?
Normally a number of a wee bit of time behind certainly the game itself, but the pictures that we've got coming in just now, Anderson's over the ball. He's taking a step back. Nick Walsh is just keeping everybody in check in and around the penalty area, making sure there's no early infringements, nobody entering the box early.
Wow, it's a long time. Here we go.
Run up now. Yeah,
nice penalty.
Dispatched really well down to the keeper's right hand side. Good penalty from Anderson.
But it means nothing really at the end of the day. St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 1. So troubling times there for Derek McInnes and his players through there in Paisley. Let's then get to the game, back to the game at Pittodrie. Stephen Craigan, from a Motherwell perspective, they got an absolute flyer there this afternoon. They've had their chances in the second half, but Aberdeen, it looks like they're going to run out deserving winners there today.
Yeah, they are, Kenny, and I think that's what will please Jimmy Teelan. Michael was touching on it there. The first half they were good, probably should have been further ahead. Second half, more of an even game, and you remember Tom Sparrow went through when it was 2-1 in the game, and he had a great chance and he put it wide, and you think, is this Aberdeen team going to roll over? Are they going to allow Motherwell back into it? But they hung in there, they stuck at the game, they got their third goal, and you can see once again the confidence is flowing in the players. The subs have been brought on. Shane Morris has come on, Davis come on up top as well, but it hasn't really changed the direction of the game since that third goal. He'll be delighted with his 3 points. Of course, opens up the gap between them and Dundee United below them. Hearts will be kept at bay. They've lost. With Hibs winning, it was crucial that Aberdeen won, and it looks like they're going to.
Yeah, they're doing the business this afternoon, Liam. We'll get through the full-time tables later on, but the live table right now, in terms of that place, the last place in the top 6, we think Hearts 39 points, St Mirren 30, Motherwell 30, Ross County, they play tomorrow 35. They're still very much in the mix.
They are. Look, it's going to be so tight. Certainly we've mentioned that a number of the games that they've got coming up. St Mirren, I feel, are in a really strong position as well, just with the 2 games that they've got, but I don't think you could write anybody off at this stage. I think the way the season's gone, teams at points have blown hot and cold just when you think things are done and dusted. Scottish football keeps on giving, but a scoreline, Kenny, today to mention, I know you've covered it in League 2. East Fife 2-0 down against the Spartans have come back. It's now 3-2 East Fife, which makes the top of that league Peterhead on 57 points. East Fife tucked in behind now in 56. And how quickly football changes, because earlier on this afternoon,
Capello, it wasn't a classic.
With the 2-0 scoreline, Peterhead looked much more comfortable.
Yes, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1.
Yeah, let's get just to Rory just to get the full-time report there. Difficult conditions down there this afternoon, but a very, very important victory for the away side, Rory.
Huge, absolutely huge, because it would have been a disaster if Partick Thistle had found themselves in 5th place come the end of the season. I think that will be enough to see them into 4th place. It's not confirmed yet, of course, but they did ride the luck at times. You could argue Morton will be kicking themselves. Blues had a couple of really, really big opportunities in the first half. Ali Crawford had a big one as well. You'd expect him to do better. Good technical player, blazed over the bar. Aidan Fitzpatrick, when he came on for Partick Thistle in the second half, made a huge difference, just running the players, going beyond players. He won the free kick which led to the goal. It was whipped into the box and Dan O'Reilly headed home with Ryan Mullins stranded trying to come and claim the ball. To be honest, a draw would have been a fair result. However, Partick Thistle do run out winners. Finishes Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1.
Just goals elsewhere. Queen of the South 4, Inverness Cally Thistle 1. Adam Brooks with that one on 89 minutes. Just confirmation that Nathan Austin goal for East Fife, as Leanne said. What a comeback for them. 4-2. They're now leading against Spartans. Dumbarton back in front away at Alloa Athletic. Mark Durnan in stoppage time there, Michael. So as we look across the games, we're just waiting for them to finish this afternoon. That last place, we think last place in top 6. Of course, Dundee have still got work to do, but so tight there now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And obviously we were talking before about the 3 teams that are closest to it, but then you've got St Mirren that are pushing right into it, and the run of the fixtures they've got are pretty favourable, you would say. And then depending on what happens tomorrow with Ross County, if they pick up 3 points against Dundee United, then they're right in the mix. You know, on 38 points, only a point off it as well. And then they've got St Mirren to play on the last game of the fixtures card before the split. So that, you know, there's a lot of big games where teams are playing each other. Hearts have got Motherwell in the last game as well. Hearts are obviously sitting in 6th at the moment, but you're looking at their run of fixtures and you're saying they're probably the most difficult. They've got this one here, obviously. Then they've got Dundee United and they've got Motherwell. So, you know, all sides that are right in the hunt for it. And I mentioned it earlier on, I think it's impossible to predict with any real certainty as to, you know, who it is that will end up being in that 6th spot. Very, very difficult. And, you know, perhaps, you know, tomorrow will be a big one as well. If Dundee United, you know, lose that, I just get a horrible feeling that they're, you know, that they're not in a great run of form. Could they perhaps drop out of it? I don't know. But one thing's for certain, it's very entertaining and interesting, because I think in these last, you know, 2 games after this weekend's fixtures, there's still going to be a lot of chopping and changing.
Stranraer looked to have grabbed a late winner at home to Clyde. It was a slight delay there, so just 88 minutes played. Mark Russell with that goal, 1-0 for the home side. Michael, speaking about Hearts, let's get back to the game at Celtic Park. It's been a cruise for the home side, Alan. They had to get a reaction after that disappointment against Rangers. They certainly got that. They came flying out the traps today. We've spoken a lot about Maeda. Kuhn looked a bit more like his old self this afternoon, but for Hearts it's going to be really touch and go now whether or not they can secure their spot in that top 6. Oh, wait a minute.
Goal! Oh, Kevin Nisbet, he saved the best for last. He's had a strike from must be 30-odd yards. Just lifted his head, got the ball out of his feet, and absolutely hammered it in off the crossbar. Ellery Balcombe throws his right arm at it, but it's just token gesture. He's not stopping that. Kevin Nisbet, I think, with his 7th goal in his last 8 games. It's Aberdeen 4, Motherwell 1.
Cracker, absolute cracker. But you know, here's a perfect example of, there's a challenge just before when Aberdeen win the ball. There's more of a physical contact in that than the penalty kick that was at St Mirren right at the start of the game. You know, it's... my first initial viewing was it's fine and they've played on, but you watch it when it goes in the middle of the park.
Full time, Kenny. It's St Mirren Park, St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 1.
Right, Derek is back with us. We've just seen the pictures there, Derek. We'll get more later on. We'll try and get managerial reaction on sports, and we'll try and get it on the telly, but it'll certainly be on the radio. But just in terms of that performance, a full house there this afternoon, a big travelling support, Derek. They've got a very good record through there, and Paisley have come on. They were right from the start. They were very much second best today.
Yeah, St Mirren were absolutely rampant this afternoon. Conditions very difficult. St Mirren adapted the better. It's as simple as that. They're first at every ball, but the quality in their play was for everyone to see within the stadium. Some great goals, some questionable goalkeeping at times, but St Mirren thoroughly deserved it. Stevie Robinson, I tell you what, he'll be a proud man. And the Nighters gave him everything, and he was speaking quality during the week, Kenny. They were brilliant, and I tell you what, it could have been more. A sore one for Derek McInnes. He'll need to take it on the chin. He's got a lot of work to do. Relegation, that's a real factor now, but it's all about St Mirren this afternoon. A fine win.
Yeah, absolutely sensational from Stephen Robinson's
Celtic
side.
3, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it was never really in doubt. I mean, Hearts been a reasonably bright start there, but Celtic's quality shone through in the end. The perfect reaction to that Old Firm defeat for Brendan Rodgers' side. We'll try and bring the Celtic manager to you on the television before 5:20. I said Stranraer looked to have grabbed the winner, but Clyde have equalised just 3 minutes later. Martin Rennie with that goal. Stranraer 1, Clyde 1. And just confirmation, Michael, that goal for Kevin Nisbet for Aberdeen, just rounding off a really dominant performance. He looks to me like a confidence player, Kevin Nisbet. He looks right back on it now.
Penalty Hibs.
Right, we'll get to that in a minute. Right, the Hibs could round things off. Again, that's a game that's never been in doubt this afternoon. Steve McGinn, talk us through it.
Jack Iredale's actually jumping on Rocky Bashiri because it's from another one of his interceptions. Rocky Bashiri, the fans singing his name. He's gone on another mazy run. He's played into Bowie. The St Johnstone defender thinks he's about to hit it with his left foot. He's chopped back onto his right foot, and no question, Stonewall penalty. But Rocky Bashiri, I know St Johnstone haven't offered much of a threat, but he is so important to this system, to David Gray and to these fans. And I think they're just checking the penalty now.
You guys had a look at it?
Well, I mean, it looks...
Third goal for Ayr United, right at the death. Just trying to see who's got that goal there. But they have got a third goal against the 10 men of Dunfermline. Ayr United 3, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, time for Toddery Kenny, sorry. Aberdeen 4, Motherwell 1.
Right, okay, so
Ethan
Aberdeen
Walker,
convincing
Ethan
goal.
Walker with the goal for Ayr United.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Lennon's not had much time to work with his players, but very disappointing in this afternoon, of course. Victor Wanyama come on as a second half substitute. He was sent off in that game. So let's get to this one at Easter Road. Has that penalty been given? Are they still looking, Stephen?
They're still looking. There's no major complaint for St Johnstone. It's given now. Yeah, penalty given.
I was just going to say, I mean, there wasn't any question. I mean, it looks as so straightforward, but I mean, it's so weak as well.
Final score, Ayr United 3, Dunfermline Athletic 0. Neil Lennon's debut for the Parsons in defeat 3-0 Ayr.
Thanks to Kerridine. We'll try and bring you the reaction from both managers down there. That big game at Somerset Park, Michael. So here we go. Hibs, I mean, the transformation in Hibs has been remarkable. So much credit must go to David Gray.
Yeah, it is incredible because, you know, keep going on about the squad as a whole. There's still a lot to be done with that squad, but there are good components there, and now they're in a position where even with some injuries they're still carrying the momentum, and they are, you know, they're the favourites for third place, which you would never have.
Kieran Bowie steps up, sends Fisher the wrong way. 3-0 Hibs.
And Stephen, how's he done today? Because he's looked very impressive, Kieran Bowie, since he's come back into the team after injury.
Yeah, I was really surprised he wasn't starting. I was actually really looking forward to watching him play again. But I think, as Michael touched on, the strength of the squad, he's made the decision to go with Kukaravic today. And Bowie, since he's come on, he's been a constant threat. But just, I don't want to make it all about St Johnstone today, because another big day for Hibs. But Michael, you're talking about the penalty. It's just a lazy leg. It's been like the whole performance is summed up in that challenge. I know the game's gone, but still do it right. Do the basics. You're in a fight.
Stephen, watching it, you know, obviously it's from a fair distance away, the initial sort of camera angle, and you're looking and going, no way, that can't be a penalty, you know, because you're thinking to yourself, it's so easy, it's so weak, and it's just, like you said, lazy. There's no real aggression in defending to be like, right, he's not going to get a shot away, I'm stopping him from cutting inside. You know, you can still block and challenge without committing yourself to giving a foul away. But
full time.
That was just... yeah, I think Stephen summed it up when he was talking about, like, it just feels like for St Johnstone, we'll look to next week. Well, you're bottom of the table, and the games are running out, and
next week Celtic. I was wrong, home to Celtic.
Yeah, home to Celtic. Yeah, I mean, and Leanne, we speak about the turnaround for David Gray, but you think about Rocky Bashiri. I mean, there's a story that they had to sign him on a technicality. There was a problem with the contract, and they had to keep him at the club, and the suggestion was they didn't want to do that. And at that point, you could understand why. But he has grown into, it's probably too early to say a cult hero, but he's a big figure for that club now.
Yeah, look, he's in a good run of form. I think Rocky Bashiri, for me, is one of these players that his form can change quite quickly. He had, I think, always it could have a flashpoint at a moment in games, or he could lose the plot, whether it be a challenge or a decision, own goals, bookings. He always felt like he was that controversial figure. There's been a steadying of the ship at Hibs, which I think has really benefited everybody. I think the vote of confidence from the board to David Gray has clearly filtered through the side. I think it's then given David Gray an opportunity to get a bit more time to work with the group. I think to find the consistency, to find his best 11, to bring reinforcements. I think even at points in the season where things were not going well, the likes of Martin Boyle wasn't fit, he wasn't in the team, he was on the bench, he wasn't coming off the bench. Players like that are now back up to a level. I think the likes of Junior Hoylett coming in, Dwight Gale offering their experience. I think the two Cadden brothers, of course Nicky missing just now through injury, but there's been a few shining lights in the Hibs side this season. But I think for me everything comes down to just that confidence and perseverance, and you don't always get it in football, and I think it's paid off for Hibs with a certain number of players, the fact that they've been able to work through the storm and certainly come out the other side.
But what I find so fascinating, Leanne, is that genuinely, if you look at that team and where they were, David Gray handled himself impeccably and spoke about how, you know, looking at like the data, and I can see that we're good, we're going to be fine. And I'll be honest, I didn't see it.
No,
I don't think anybody saw it. But he's been able to get performances. I mean, now you can look at it and you go, well, it takes care of itself because the momentum is there and the performances are generally on a high from a lot of the players. So that it becomes a lot easier for David Gray. But when they were in the mire, to be able to get the performances and the belief and actually a bit of grit and determination, which they were sorely lacking, for the manager to have not lost the plot and be shaking his head in disbelief at those group of players, that is the biggest accolade I think that David Gray deserves, is that he kept his head when I don't know how he did, because I didn't think the squad was capable of turning it around. And for a young manager, you would have thought that the situation would have gobbled him up, because this is a club that, you know, the run of results that he's been on now are, you know, it's the best that it's been for probably a decade. And that group of players, I'm looking at it and thinking they're not capable of that, but he's somehow been able to get that together, and credit to him. They've got, you know, they've still got, as I said, they've got work to do to develop the team, because they've signed Jordan Smith, he's got a new contract, but they need a goalkeeper, and I'd be really interested to see what David Gray looks to do in the summer. Does he stick with this system, or does he look to go back to a back four and obviously recruit and adjust the team with his recruitment, or is he going to stick with this system and look to recruit within this formation? But the summer's going to be a very, you know, interesting one at Hibs, and there'll be a lot happening there. And obviously, if they get third place and they finish up getting, you know, guaranteed group football, then they've got, you know, good finances that'll be flooding into the team as well.
You're right, Michael. He's handled himself so well. So what we'll do, we'll give you the class